some shine. Racing's in my blood, no worries of tomorrow. But tonight we're gonna light 'em up. I said light 'em up, light 'em up, light 'em up. Oh, I said light 'em up. Checkers in the mean machine, and tonight we're gonna light 'em up. I said light 'em up, light 'em up. Oh, I said light 'em up. Time to run some shine. Wine-knuckle grip in the neon light, trading pain in the heart of the fight. Shifting gears till the edge feels right. Start 'em up, hear the engines cry. Let the thunder roll, leave no doubt. All or nothing when the checkers come out. Doors beating doors in an all-out fight. This is a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Wednesday night! Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Every track has a story to tell. Every wall has been one driver's hell. Back in the saddle we go. Ring the bell like a moonshiner. We're riding on rails. Checkers all records. Send it in, set sail. Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. This is 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 a Moonshiners Wednesday night.
Tonight, it's a trip to a track we haven't been to in a while. Tonight, the Moonshiners Racing League and its GMD Janitorial Cup Series makes its way to a return to Chicagoland Speedway for the Impact Sim Designs 300 here at Chicagoland and Joliet, Illinois. We're happy with us here on Precision Entertainment for tonight's coverage. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Dawson Wise. We'll also be joined by a plethora of pit road reporters this evening, including Zach Case, along with Adam M. Thompson, as well as Ryan Power producing using cameras provided by Whiplash SimCams. Currently in the midst of preparation for tonight as drivers qualify right about the middle, if not just past it, on the season. We're in the middle of that summer stretch, if you will, before you go postseason racing later with the Chase.
Yeah, 8 races to go until the Impact Sim Designs Chase, and look at the schedule coming up. So many wild card tracks, and it starts tonight with Chicagoland. A few drivers ready for the return to Joliet tonight are due for a good run here this evening.
That indeed is the expectation for so many. Let's see how things look tonight. Of note, in those chase points, Brandon Bowie did switch numbers tonight from 51 to 35 for the remainder of the season to align with other series. That in mind here, let's talk cut line, because you look at the second half of that screen. Chris Vincent's got a 33-point buffer. Kenny Real 22. Mark Sanchez with last week did go up plus 12 though to great car. You got a fair few of decent drivers down that order, Dawson, as well, like Johnny Shea, like Greg Carr, William Owens, Nigel Christian, all looking to try and get something going the next few weeks.
Well, and again, knowing the tracks we have coming up, again, Atlanta, the Brickyard, North Wilkesboro, Daytona, all still on tap over these last 8 races of the regular season, even all the way up to the 11th spot in points. Double digits, to me, is not safe, knowing what we have coming. Over the last few weeks, we've seen a couple of drivers, and Timothy Harper's one of them, have a couple of bad luck moments, and that's put them now in a non-guaranteed position in terms of the Chase standings. From Harper all the way to Christensen, that's only about a 120-point gap, or 2 to 3 races once you count in stage points. You have a couple of bad nights over the next 8 weeks. You could go from in to out. You have a couple great nights. You go from out to in. Shade, Christensen, Owens, all in the mix. Greg Carr as well, who, by the way, is qualified inside the top 6. For those guys above the cut line, starting to feel the pressure coming into tonight.
Definitely so, and remember, we're in the middle of the Icon Apparel Co. In-Season Challenge, which sees, of course, new challenges for the competitors tonight. Brandon Bowie taking on Kenny Real. You have Holden versus Davis, Vincent versus Cox, Wilson in better place in the bracket. Then Alex Murray not going to move on tonight. He is currently in Ohio for karting action. Mark Sanchez, the 15th seed, with a clear path to the quarterfinal already.
Got a couple of matchups to watch out for tonight. Of course, Kenny Real getting the win over Nico Garcia last week in Sonoma. He'll take on Brandon Bowie, now a tall task certainly tonight. A couple of teammate battles. Vincent and Cox, Holden and Davis, amongst others, towards the bottom half of the bracket. Rogers and Gallimore as well, an all-BMP battle. Greg Carr qualified 6th. Alex Coffey qualified 3rd. Expect that to be one of the best battles tonight as well, 19 versus 3.
Real quickly, let's talk about this racetrack where you're always turning left. Remember the banking, about 18 degrees here at Chicagoland. It's been around for now more than 24 years of racing action and return to rear-world action this year. It's pole winner for the pole, brought to you by Victory Designs tonight. We'll see a familiar face to the top of the board. Nico Garcia setting the pole here this evening. That is his 4th of the season. Paul Gallimore will start in 2nd. Car number 2, Alex Coffey spun on the 2nd lap of his efforts, but he still qualified 3rd alongside Timothy Harper. 2 machines in the dig camp. Kenny Real will start in row number 3 alongside Greg Carr's 25 car. Then you throw it back to row number 4. That's going to be an interesting matchup between Chris Davis on the inside. Mike Hochschild will start on the outside in the 38 car. Running at your top 10 tonight, there's the number change for Brandon Bowie, and Kyle Holden starts off key number 10.
Well, another guy who could really use another good run tonight after a couple of good road courses. Row 6, Nigel Christensen for Dig eSports. He needs a good run tonight from 11th. Brandon Fetterplace has come on since Charlotte. He'll start from 12th. Row 7, it's Chris Vincent, who continues a good rookie campaign from 13th starting spot tonight. Alongside him, Johnny Shade, another guy below the cut line. Same for William Owens, back starting in the 15th spot in the 30. Alongside him, Aaron Matthews in the all-yellow number 5 for Arrow. Row 9 will see Nick King in the patriotic number 12 Warrior Racing Ford Mustang from 17th. It's Sean Rogers alongside him for BMP. He'll have some work to do in the 18th spot. And on row 10, it's Corey Moore. He's come on since Talladega in late April. He'll start from 19th tonight, though, alongside the returning Wayne Bowe.
21st will go the way to the boss man, Barry Sanders, in the Icon Apparel Cope car. Alongside him is Blaine Wilson in his well-known 18 car. Ryan Catalano will look to keep it clean tonight from 23rd spot. Mark Sanchez well down the order in 24th. Jim Treat's 42 car rounds out the top 25. Alongside him, Jose Medina bring back the pink and white machine. Matt Mackin was the last driver to set a time tonight for this evening's action. The rest of the field, start of the back, based on various intervals. Shane Davis, Matt Cox, Trevor Ashwinoff, Chris Cornett, and Matt Mettler all start at the back. As we take a look at your conditions tonight, like we have seen in many league races, starting off in a late afternoon to early evening to possibly under the light racing, Dawson. This track starting pretty cool tonight for what will be some quick first two stages.
Yeah, very quick stages, 45 apiece. Stages 1 and 2 blink, and they will both be over. But that long third stage, it's been a staple to mile and a half this season so far. 110 laps, over half of the 200-lap race distance. Tonight we'll be running that third stage pit strategy. Should become interesting should we get into a green flag run.
Should be one stopper with the run in stage 3, but you never know when there's a caution flag how things can strike, especially when you have 5 tires set to the pit lane tonight. Take a look at your Van Looy Stickers cameras tonight. We have at least 9 of them. Thank you once again to the drivers for all participating by providing their camera viewpoints here tonight. And as you can see, all the drivers and various points of calm, I guess you can say, as they all gear up for the restart/start coming up next time by.
Yeah, guys getting ready to go. And again, as a driver, this is the longest part of the race right here. This feels like a race in and of itself. Getting yourself ready, both physically and mentally. A track in Chicagoland we haven't been to in a long time. The series has not yet seen this racetrack in Chicagoland, and excited to get the debut of it tonight. These drivers figuring out how they're going to attack what is a rough surface and one with a lot of character.
And some have described the bumps in turns 1 and 2 are actually removed with the new art updates and track updates for 2026. So it causes a little bit of intriguiness drivers have to face. Zach Case, real quick with you. What have you heard coming into tonight?
I think the biggest thing is just drivers are getting used to being on this track again. Obviously, with a lot of official races going on this week, I think the biggest thing is just getting comfortable with the track, right? Getting back into the mile-and-a-half program that we've seen maybe earlier on in the season, get away from the road course, and just really prepared for what's to come. So we'll get it back to you guys.
We're all set to go for the Van Looy Sticker Start Zone. We're happy to have you with us from Chicagoland. We're underway from Joliet. Working through 3 and 4. Here we go as they rumble their way to the front straightaway. Poor start for Paul Gallimore, who drops down to the 4th position to begin. Interesting to say the least with the top line there, but as you would expect with the way the races have gone so far, much of the field starting at the bottom before moving up later.
It's a stable to mile and a half so far this season. Kansas comes to mind as another one where it took a little while for drivers to venture outside of the bottom lane, right against that white paint. That's where the leader will go. Garcia, Coffee in line with him. He took 2nd. How about the red line car? Kenny Reel, we've talked so much about him this year. He's 3rd in the opening run here. You're off the back of the leader, Garcia. He'll face a challenge here to turn 1. Coffee a headlight lower. Garcia down. He'll provide some dirty air across the coffee machine, but not quite as much as we thought. Coffee gets the headlight out. He's got the purple lap already. 30.004, fastest of the night for the big eSports driver.
And that's to be expected here with what we usually seen a bit with the draft pole. You can see though he's trying to go for the cross up on Garcia. Look at this. Coffee already to the race lead on lap 4 to start it at least. And Paul Gallimore already back at the 3rd guard around Kenny Reel. So just like that, Coffee is up in front, but as you can see, Garcia doesn't want to let it up easily. Look at that run he got from the higher line for the back straightaway. Coffee keeping it up on the inside.
Rewind a little bit further back behind the leaders. The battle for the lead continues. That's back around the Christensen car, right around the battle for the 6th, 7th, and 8th positions. You're on board with Nick King from 10th as Coffee noses ahead of Garcia at the line. Back to turn 1. Nick King continues to run right in behind this Hornet's Nest. And again, similar to Kansas and Las Vegas and the Cookie Cutters, the Dirty Air back around the 10th, 12th, 14th positions. Going to provide an issue tonight. Contact there, Harper and Bowie further back right around the 6th position on the racetrack. Battle for the lead continues up front. And this is what's so interesting about Garcia. On the mile and a half this year, Kansas was really the first place we saw the center of the corner speed is on another level. They have this car dialed in, week out on these mile and a halves. He's got it again tonight because he's been able to play some defense, and he's worked up the racetrack. He's higher than anybody is over in turn 1.
Interesting to say the least. Obviously going to burn up a bit of its tire, but it will get him the advantage, Garcia in this case. Take a look at his viewpoint as he tries to this time stick to the bottom in 3 and 4. There's still a fair few amount of bumps at that part of the racetrack, though you have to be careful. You get too low around that white line. They're used to at least, B. Dawson, a massive bump that would shuffle you up the track. It looks like Garcia trying to avoid that. Some of the others just trying to find some clean air pockets. Kyle Holden well down the order for where we expect them. 16th, a -6 to start.
And I think that's what you saw early, specifically with Paul Gallimore, and so much has happened in this opening 7 laps. I didn't really get to mention it. I think Gallimore was a little bit conservative in turn 1, and you talked about that just a moment ago, JP, with the intrigue of there not being as many bumps over in turns 1 and 2. I think Paul Gallimore drove the racetrack like we used to have to drive the racetrack, with the bumps over there on the tunnel in turns 1 and 2. So I think you saw that in the opening lap. Gallimore has since settled in. You've seen him cornered 1 and 2 a lot better since the opening start. I think you saw several drivers start into that early in the race. Biggest mover, Nick King, continues to work through the field. He sliced all the way from 17th to 9th early. Talking about a guy that could use a good run. Nick King is on that boat. Corey Moore is another. He's +6, 19th to 13th for the 19 car after a couple of rough road courses over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, King seems to have the short run. You can see how much they were stacked off of 4, and King is just about sliced through them all already. You're 10 laps into the run. Here's Corey Moore you were talking about, by the way, on his charge. For Corey Moore, in the top 10 in points, dropped to 8th last time out. He's also looking tonight to see if he can pick up number 10 for top 10s on the season. Trying to get himself to double-digit categories for that statistic. Everybody else, though, stay within the draft. The entire field, except for 3 cars, is within 4.5, 5 seconds at the moment.
Yeah, and again, I think this is similar to what we've seen at tracks. Again, I mentioned Kansas and Vegas. I'll add Michigan to this as well, although tonight will not be quite as wide open as that race was, even Charlotte to a degree, where the draft is so strong in this Gen 7 race car that everyone can kind of tow off the car in front of them. We're not going to see a ton of huge leads tonight for really anybody, and that's the case as up front. As you're on board a little further back, as Brandon Bowie pushes the issue back around the 6th spot, Alex Coffey's arrived on scene again. Garcia got away for a moment. The reprieve only lasted about 5 laps. Coffey, big run off the top. He'll use the rail run to jump to the inside of Garcia. Back to 3. Coffey to the inside. He'll go right to the white paint. New leader, the defending champion, Alex Coffey.
There he goes, up to the race lead still. It's the 54. They continue to try and go back and forth. Again, expecting a little bit of that here tonight. You mentioned trying to get offset to the headlight for the clean air. We're going to be part of what's important to make sure you don't melt these tires here tonight. We've talked about it a fair bit the past few weeks. Staying lined up bumper to bumper basically feeds you dirty air. Garcia drives the dirty air cone, if you will. And already, as we're about a third of the way through the stage, Garcia losing ground with the dirty air now.
Well, such a facet of these mile and a halves has been the driver to find the grip away from the bottom first tends to be the best, especially if the run gets longer. Garcia's experimented already on this opening run. Another driver I see starting to do it is 4th place Timothy Harper. He's back to where he started this race in the 4th spot. He has moved up the racetrack on both ends. He'll move up again here in turns 3 and 4. So too will Garcia. And as those guys experiment, they're finding speed up there. Now, The counter to that, they're doing damage to their Goodyear Eagles. And you could argue, is that the best run, long run, or is that the best play, long run? We'll see for Harper, King, and the emerging Chris Vinson, who, by the way, is up to the 6th spot and just getting to the inside of Nick King. That's for 5th. A pair of drivers plus 7 or more so far.
Not bad so far for car 33, to say the very least, to pick up some spots. He's done this in a couple races so far. He's following along behind King for the time being, who's up in the top 5. That in mind, as the leaders continue to dance, you continue to see how much Garcia changed the lines. How do you feel about the apron impact, if you will, around this racetrack, where you have that bottom of the racetrack? You might be able to get a little bit of gap built up, but from what drivers have said, it's like an extra turn if you go down there.
It's tough as a driver because for so many years in the old cars and really in the other cars on the service besides this Gen 7 car, in the O'Reilly car, the truck, the ARCA car, you want to go down there. It saves your time. You want to get as close to the grass as possible on the front stretch. It also breaks the draft if you're in the pack as well. There's a lot of benefits to it, and it's a habit thing as here comes Garcia. He's to the outside of the race leader in Coffee. He'll rim ride here off turn 2. He'll get alongside him once again, and in the same way that we saw him defend the lead a moment ago, Garcia retakes the point. Back to turn 3. Coffee will re-attack in turn 3. No, he'll decide to lift early, save a little bit of tire, go over the bumps, and maintain second position for now. Back to the apron discussion a moment ago we were just having. It's a habit as a driver. Me personally, I like going down there. In this car, though, the damage you do to the underside, the extra turn, the potential for the tires to get out from underneath you, is it worth that? We've seen drivers wrestle with it already in this race.
So far, so good when it comes to how things going. The follow driver, for those curious, is where the camera's pointing in yellow here on your pylon. So in other words, as you can see, Timothy Harper is zipping on by. If you click to say in our car, like King, that's where we'll switch over for that on your pylon throughout the night. Timothy Harper was about to say was doing a good job to keep up at the front. He's already up to P2 right in front of Coffee.
Yeah, Timothy Harper is on rails early in this one. And again, a guy that he ended up with a good finish last week in Sonoma, but certainly the road courses have not been exactly what the doctor ordered. We knew the speed he has on mile and a half. So he had a top 3 in Las Vegas back in the month of March. Also was good at Kansas. Ryan Catalano on board. How about this paint scheme for Catalano this week? Of course, the 4th of July last Saturday night. Ryan Catalano carries the Stars and Stripes aboard that 92 for Top It Off Hot Sauce. And by the way, well, the drive for Catalano, we haven't mentioned his name yet tonight. Plus 13, now your biggest mover in the race. 23rd to 10th for the drive of the 92. He's on the move as well. Next car up for him is Kenny Reel, just ahead in the 9th spot.
You have a fun story about that, I think, Zach. I think you were just mentioning something about the paint scheme earlier on, weren't you?
Yeah, not to steal any thunder away from Ryan Catalano, but he's been able to use Gemini AI from Google to make some of his Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replays. So paint schemes. So he's been doing a great job making that patriotic scheme, and obviously some of the other ones we've seen earlier on. So he's doing a cool little thing. So cool little promo, obviously, and he's doing a great job. So make sure you get your Top It Off Hot Sauce Company hot sauce, right? Obviously use code MRL15 for 15% off your entire order. Go to topitoffhotsaucecompany.com. I'm going to send it back to you guys. I need to go find a water.
Let you go get some water, absolutely, because it is pretty hot if you are outdoors, to say the least. If you're outside at the racetrack now, you'll be feeling need for hydration. That in mind, as we all zip about here, race lead changed again to Garcia, still up at the point for now, but at this point, my question is going to be, Kenny Reel just indicated he's pitting this lap. Hold on a second. He just said he has to come down pit road here, Dawson. Something's up here with the 99.
Certainly imagine this is an off-schedule pit stop, and you can see I think the look in the eyes there for Kenny Reel. Obviously something is amiss for this 99. So we'll see for Kenny Real here as he'll bring it to pit road. Again, this is completely off schedule. We did not expect a pit stop in this opening stage. He will get it down to speed and come to his pit box. And for the driver of the red line Toyota Camry, he's going to park it immediately. And obviously something going on there for Kenny Real. A tough way, though, for his night to end for a guy both in the in-season challenge and in the points. Back to the battle up front. Alex Coffey again ceded that spot to his stablemate Timothy Harper in the 23. Coffey maintaining third for now. The man on the move, though, who has started to pick up speed in the long run, the points leader, Brandon Bowie, last week's winner at Sonoma, up to 5th, +4 from where he started. The long run speed starting to come in for the newly rebranded 35 as the tires start to fall off for Vincent, King, Catalano, and a couple of others who have been on the charge.
And so, as all these drivers go, Adam, you've been checking in on what's going on here with this situation.
Well, unfortunately there for Kenny Real, somebody situation at his home. He had to go unlock the door for somebody and had to come down pit road to just go take care of that. So nothing major going on for him.
Nothing major on the personal side, but definitely major for the race because he just sat on pit road for a minute. Not only is he a lap down, he's a couple laps down here at Dawson. This is going to require possibly all the way to stage 3 to recover from.
Yeah, but not impossible to recover from. Obviously, you see a driver come down and park, you assume their night is over. So compared to that, obviously, he's got a long ways to go, 175 laps to make it up. And he's got 2 guaranteed cautions, right? So he knows at some point in this race, he'll likely get those 2 laps back. It may come earlier than the end of stage 2, but at the very least, he'll have about 110 laps to make up what he just lost. And that car is very fast tonight, so we'll wait and see on the Kenny Real machine. We continue to ride on board with Chris Vincent. He rides 6th, great run for him, +7 so far. And by the way, provisionally leads his in-season challenge matchup as well with his BMP teammate, Matt Cox. That would be a pretty major upset.
Matt Cox is making his way to the field, but he's still down right now in 16th position in comparison's sake, and that's kind of risky play sometimes. The early going, you throw away the potential of some stage points early, but on counterpoint, you get to see all the scenery, I guess you could say. Make your way to the field. Some people like to challenge, some people might not be able to qualify, some people have various things happening. And that's the case right now with the 0-0 going from the back to the front. Bowie, though, he's right now all over the track. Gets passed by Vincent.
A big lift there in 3 and 4. It was great defense by Paul Gallimore over in the turns 3 and 4 area of the racetrack to hold Brandon Bowie down, make him lift out of the throttle, provide some side force on that 35, and now he'll have to regroup. He's all the way back to 6th. He's lost the spot he gained from Vincent just a moment ago. So Bowie has to regroup and go back at a couple of BMP entries in front of him at this point early in the race. A little further up, Alex Coffey has recaught his teammate Timothy Harper, or stablemate rather, at Dig eSports. Coffey looking for 2nd. Nico Garcia says, thank you very much. I'll take a few laps to grow my buffer just a little bit. Coffey retakes the spot, as that will be a change for the 2nd spot again. Really good run early for Timothy Harper. Not abnormal for the Dig eSports cars to be fast here, but Harper specifically, top 3 in Las Vegas. Well, I believe it was top 5 in Kansas as well. Actually finished 4th in Las Vegas, but top 5 in Kansas, I believe, as well. So Harper good on these cookie-cutter D-shaped ovals.
Indeed. Let's check it back in on the cameras, by the way. Here's the look of that in action for our drivers. See, for the most part, pretty steady wheels has to be the thought. You can see most of the drivers not really putting too much steering wheel movement in. Not trying to move more than 15 degrees or so in those camera points. You can take a look at Brandon Fitterplace's on board. You can just see how much of the drivers have to be careful on how much angle they put on. If you've got a good setup, you shouldn't be turning too much. If you're turning a lot, you probably don't have the right suspension build in it.
That means the car is pushing a lot, especially through the entry and center of the corner, and that just does not add up to the middle of the corner exit speed that you want to have in this kind of car where momentum is the name of the game. It has been all season long. As we continue to ride on board, this is with Aaron Matthews. You continue to see the biggest mover is Ryan Catalano, +15 for the 92. He's all the way to the 8th position. This is one of the better stage ones I can remember the 92 having this season. Some serious speed on board. His car, Cox, as well, is +15. Also, here's Catalano, and this may be why He's gone to the high rent district up in Larson Bell Reddick territory early in stage 1, one of the first to move quite that high.
Yeah, as you can see, Catalano rolling, pushing right now middle. It's almost digging a little bit into the corners here. Not too much turn as well, so he's also doing a really good job. And take a listen here. You'll hear a big difference, I think, in that line. He's turning an extra couple degrees here, Dawson, with the tire squeal. Not as high when he actually was running a lane lower. But that's the kind of thing you have to play around. This is exactly what we're talking about with steering angle. If you put a lot of steering wheel in it and a lot of force, well, that's a little bit of force. Catalano now making friends with that send. Nick King able to avoid major contact. Chris Davis around side. And hold on. Note on Nick King is saying he's got damage from it. Yes, so King's got damage. He's saying go around.
Well, in shades of 2018 Chicagoland, Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, it looked awfully similar as Catalano just kept on coming up and up and up and up and expected Nick King to lift out of the throttle and give him the lane, and he did not. And you can see now, I mean, visibly here in the middle of the corner, Nick King is struggling mightily here through the center of the corner. And this is a tough break for Nick King, who had charged into the top 10, had a really sporty Ford Mustang early in this race, and now the damage is so far holding him back just a little bit. Again, he's only got 10 laps to go. Survive here in stage number 1. Kyle Holden has worked into the top 10 for the first time. He currently rides in the 10th spot. A couple of good road course races for him, including the win in Coronado just a couple of weeks ago in San Diego. So for Holden, looking to keep the momentum going. He's back to where he started in 10th, working on cars in front of him. Fetter place, of course, Catalano, we mentioned a moment ago. Chris Davis would be up the road from him. For the back, here's an onboard with Jim Treat, one of our other onboard cameras tonight.
Yeah, and it's both straight on. Can't really see the steering wheel too much with the angle he's set up here tonight, but Jim's doing Jim things, just trying to make sure he keeps the pack. You can see a little bit of the wheel, as I was saying, but follow along with the lap. Take a listen in. Coming out of the corner, you can see Jim Treat still keeping it steady here. Does have two things in the background. One, a lot of die-cast cars. Two, a trophy. Now, trying to figure out the context of the trophy personally, but again, try to say he's been a winner and he likes race cars.
A big-time winner at that. It's a pretty tall trophy out behind his sim rig right there, and a cool die-cast collection as well. Really cool backdrop there for Jim Treat. Obviously a collector. I was one at one point as well. And Jim Treat showing it off tonight for the camera. Back up front, Coffey has reeled in Garcia once again. He'll give one more effort at it here at the end of stage 1. It'll be 6 to go at the line. Coffey has stayed at the bottom. He's not really changed his line much. He arcs the corner down. Now he runs about a lane off the bottom here on this end of the speedway. But in 1 and 2, he continues to arc down to the white paint on the bottom side of the racetrack. Garcia has stayed about 3 lanes off the bottom. Coffey has run on the white paint. He has insisted on running the bottom in the mid to late run of this race. Now he moves up about a lane. But you see there, looking off the back, it's a perfect angle, poking the headlight out, trying to get a little bit of clean air. Didn't get a lot there, obviously. He drops back about another car length.
By the way, a couple of moments ago during that onboard, hold on, change up dawn, we are under caution. William Owens right in front of Barry Sanders. And this is an interesting one. Caution flag is out. Great car was the one that came up around the 30, and then Owens hard on the brakes in front of Barry Sanders.
Potential major points implications here to the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replay we go as the caution's out for the first time tonight. This was outside the top 10, and again could have major not only points implications but in-season challenge implications with Greg Carr in the 25. It'll start up ahead, and boy, big time contact there. Owens and Carr, a couple big hits, nowhere to go for the boss man.
I'm curious what was going on with the 30, though. Afterwards, it looked like he just slammed the brakes there with how much he was trying to go to a stop with the car on his bumper.
I'm curious as well. Let's see here off turn 2. Car slides up, and it was very similar to the Catalano King contact, and the car just kept on coming up and up and up and got across the nose of Owens, and a monster hit for both of those cars. And you're right, an interesting look for Owens there after the crash. After these two come together, you're going to see here, watch car come across the nose off turn 2, and there's not much of a lane there. Big hit, man, for the 25 of Greg Carr. You saw a puff of engine smoke there as well.
And do you think Owens in that case was on the brakes thinking he was going to get pushed into a second incident with a car? But then again, you can see Barry is right here. There's the bumper contact. And you could, it's not as bad for the 88 here as it could have been. But I mean, you're not expecting that, obviously, with that incident.
Yeah, it's interesting with Owens jumping on the brakes, maybe thinking there was some kind of secondary possibility there. You wonder if maybe he started to get in the brakes thinking that maybe get out of the way of Carr before he slid across, and it was just a little bit too late. Obviously, that happens very, very fast off turn 2. So for those cars, it's a tough break. You almost also wonder if Carr maybe wondered if Owens was a little bit further off the safer barrier than he actually was. Owens was about a half a lane down off the wall when they got onto the backstretch there. So you wonder if maybe Greg Carr thought he was a little bit further out than he was, and they came together right in the center there off turn 2.
No appearance of damage for the 88. Zach, you're right standing by.
Yeah, I went down pit road, talked to the 30, talked to Greg Carr in the 25. Greg Carr said, spotter said clear, and came up the track to try to clear himself and get in front of him. So he thought he was clear, came up, and obviously William Owens in the 30 car for 0x Sim Racing was there. So unfortunately, 4 minutes and 30 seconds for the 30 car, all optional. He has front and rear damage, and Greg Carr unfortunately out of the race, so he will be a DNF. I still got to go run down pit road to find the boss man Barry Sanders, so I will be back.
Thank you very much, Zach, and we'll let you go on your jog, because here's the thing, we're coming up to a 2-lap run to the end of the stage, Dawson.
Yeah, 2-lap shootout, and again, some major potential points implications here, just looking at the guys that are inside the top 10. Catalano, Vincent, Gallimore, Christensen, that all really could use some stage points here, and some guys just outside that could use them as well. So a potential major point shift here coming in stage 1, as well as, again, the implications with the in-season challenge also coming up on this restart.
Coming up to end off stage 1, again brought to you by Collegiate Football Simulation League, the top collegiate simulation league. Create your legacy by visiting collegesimleague.com today. We're just about ready to go for a 2-lap dash. Stage number 1 comes down to this. Bruley with a good start right behind the 8. The Aero cars are off and away.
And they timed that awfully well, did the two Aero teammates there as the field works down to turn 1. Alex Coffey left, reeling and fighting for third. Gallimore to the inside for that spot. Coffey will play pretty good defense on the banking of turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. All of a sudden, Garcia's got new company in his rearview mirror in the form of the Aero entry. The points leader, Brandon Bowie, down to turn 3 goes the field. Most guys work to the bottom. Garcia stays in the middle, and it's chaos out back of the leaders.
One to go on the stage, this time by Bowie, looking for a chance to get the lead for the first time today. Vincent's the first one on the apron for this one. Remember, all the drivers who pit to flip the stage going to be 16th on back, led by Moore, Wilson, and Matthews, along with Cox, who had a 57-second repair bill. Few of the drivers trying to add to the repair bills. That was a little bit of a bobble for Chris Davis back there, as everyone else makes their way through turn 4. It's Nico Garcia coming away with stage 1. A lot of wall slaps coming out of 4. Bowie, Coffey, Gallimore, Fennerplace, Vincent, Harper, Catalano, Holton, and Chris Cornett were a part of the top 10 at the time of the stripe.
Yeah, to be expected, I think, for Nico Garcia there. We knew the 8 would have speed. You knew Bowie and Coffey would bring good pieces tonight. Some other guys expected their great runs for Vincent and Catalano to capture some stage points. Cornett as well. The big loser in that one was Christensen. What we did not see on the backstretch, contact between Cornett, Christensen, and Davis. Ends up with Christensen 16th in the stage, a distance 6 spots away from stage points.
Okay, catch up to the pace car this time by. So your lap counts coming in for leaders so far. Garcia 38, Coffee 8. As we are under caution for the first time here, second time actually, here this evening. 1 for cause, 1 for stage. And so as we prepare for this one, it's time for a busy flurry of pit stops. Pit road is going to be a busy one, with most of the field going to come down, but a lot of people going to be on a couple lap old tires. Very much change to the front of the field. Adam, you're standing by to bring us to pit road.
Alex Coffey reporting that he was a little bit tight here. He'll take a 4-tire stop here, make a few tire pressure adjustments, and he'll be on his way. BMP also reporting very, very tight. They'll do a 4-tire stop here. Ryan Catalano says his car feels really good right now, and Trevor as well. He's saying it's okay. Over to Zach.
Thank you, Adam. Down in the aero camp, Nico Garcia obviously getting the stage 1 win. No complaints for his car so far. They're leaving everything the same, no adjustments. Brandon Bowie doing a great job as well, driving up into the top 5. No adjustments from him. How about Brandon Fetterplace? Also driving up into the top 10 for some stage points. Here's your race off of pit road. It looks like the 35 will get him. Give it to Brandon Bowie moving up to the leaderboard. Nico Garcia right behind him. Back up to you guys in the booth.
That completes stage 1 and its pit stops. The Impact Sim Designs 300 continues after this. You're watching Precision Entertainment. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the Impact Sim Designs 300 as we are rolling for stage number 2. We're back to racing action once again here from Chicagoland. Beginning things off with the orange button boxes, stage 2. Van Looy stickers restart.
Trouble, GP. It's Matt Cox into the outside wall off the nose of Wayne Bowen. A pair of cars crash into turn 1. I thought it would draw the caution. It brought Cox halfway around. Everyone keeps going and we stay green.
So all of a sudden, going from good start to not so good start, we were expecting some chaos here, Dawson, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. 13 drivers opting to flip the stage and stay out under this. The second caution, the first for the first stage. Matt Cox got to the center of Bowen and Matthews into 1 and got turned across the 78's nose. 3 cars in the real estate for 2. That typically does not work on a 1.5 mile like Chicagoland. And Cox and Bowen come together and get the worst of it.
So just like that, major incident, but does not bring us under yellow. Cox was being aggressive. Give him that with 3 wide off the jump. And now, just like that, we'll lose a lot of ground again. Up at the front, Chris Davis trying to hold off a hornet's nest. Corey Moore on the outside, Aaron Matthews on the inside. Here comes the run for the race lead. Moore's to the outside. Here comes the 19 to take over the point. Can he clear is the question.
And Aaron Matthews thought for a moment about 3 wide. There into turn 3, thinks better of it, goes back to the middle trying to find a little bit of clean air. These two will work side by side off turn 4. And, you know, the story of this is guys have gotten better as the season goes. Chris Davis did win in Atlanta, but it feels like as we've reached the midpoint of the season, that car's gotten faster. Corey Moore over the last 6 weeks, you could say the same thing. He'll power to the race lead on the outside in turn 1. Big move for Moore. He'll go to the point. Aaron Matthews follows in the tire tracks. He'll go to second. Not talked about much in this. Blaine Wilson up to 4th. Blake Hawshield is 5th. Matt Mettler is 6th. And then it's tires behind them. Garcia has sliced through the field the best. He's up to 7th. Best on the new tires after stage 1.
We'll find out how far some of these drivers can get. Brandon Bowie, 2nd in that total. 3rd is Alex Coffey for the time being. But right now, Aaron Matthews, it feels like we haven't talked about him much this year. For a driver that last year was in the conversation for the playoffs at the time of 2025, this year with the chase, only 26th for car number 5 in the standings coming in.
He's not had a ton of great luck this season, to say the absolute least. At times it's been a nightmare for Aaron Matthews, but tonight, an opportunity to capitalize and kind of wash things away. Still got 8 races to change his luck around and potentially put himself back in that conversation. And it starts tonight in Joliet, Illinois. He wanted a trip to the race lead. He got the wall a little bit there in turn 2, asked for a little too much over on that end of the racetrack, but wanted a trip to the race lead at least momentarily. He'll go back to the high rent district in turns 3 and 4. He'll try it again. He'll get a big run off. Can he cross up Corey Moore? Yes, he can. To the inside, Aaron Matthews for the race lead. One of the first times we've said that in 2026. Matthews noses ahead for the point as Wilson charges on Davis for 3rd. That's behind the race leaders.
5 not clear for the point yet. Now is clear. But Corey Moore likes to give him the push instead. As you were saying, though, Eric, one of the Dick cars, and Wilson also looking for setup. Let's see just how much this 19's able to play around a little bit with the throttle, back and forth, in and out of it. It's not working in the middle there. In this case, seems to be a car needing the cleaner, obviously, to succeed. Dirty air, or touched upon a lot earlier, and officials in an error series called throughout the week. Drivers reached it. You need clean air. You can turn a leading car to a 30th place car with dirty air.
Well, absolutely. And again, the setup underneath the car completely changes based on whether or not you're in traffic or out of traffic. Just based on things in the front end of this race car, it's so air dependent. You need to at least have the headlight out. And that's why you see drivers searching around, trying to find grip, trying to find a lane that they can put themselves in where is comfortable for them to run, but also they're not making it harder on themselves, pushing aero tight, which Chris Davis just did right there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. That's what we mean. He pushes up the racetrack, and Blaine Wilson says, "Thank you, sir." Moves on by. He'll take 3rd, but growing in the rearview mirror of these top 5 is Nico Garcia. He's made it to the 5th place car, Hawshield. He's working on him for the 5th spot. Meanwhile, Brandon Bowie's only been able to get as far as 10th. He just got around Trevor Osbornoff for that spot. He has been stuck in a hornet's nest. Back around that spot, you're on board with Garcia. As he works on Hawshield, he'll go right to the bottom, poke the headlight out. But it's tough sailing because cars in front of him want to run that same lane.
Yeah, you got to find a way to make it work. In a lot of cases, when you have majority of the field, it used to be the case where most of the time you would see everybody up on the top. Remember the Gen 6 era, and it become an absolute choo-choo train around the track. And obviously, when it came to that point, the only few drivers like Keegan Leahy and a couple others that were able to break that pattern in some races got absolutely exemplified and amplified with what they were to do. You have to find that layer of difference if you want something to work here. Wilson, meanwhile, he's ready to work for the race lead. Looking for one of the first times up front for his season. It was been an extremely quiet year for car 18.
Again, this is a guy that we talked about, Matthews, in the conversation for the playoffs. Blaine Wilson was in the playoffs. In fact, made a deep run in the playoffs a year ago. So for Blaine Wilson, we expected perhaps to see him lead a lot more than he has so far in 2026. But he'll take it where he can get it. He battles for the race leader down the back straightaway. He'll get alongside Matthews as, again, Garcia got around the Hawshield machine. He works on Davis. That's behind these guys. He's the red, white, and blue car on the inside. Almost contact there between our 2 race leaders as off turn 4, they continue to drag race down the front stretch and back to turn 1. Great race for the lead as Wilson works the inside. Matthews says, "I'm not going to make it that easy," and continues to defend on the top lane.
Still not able to clear a by with the run coming through, and Matthews back in a line as the race leader. Still, track position proving to be very vital with under 30 to go in the stage. The only driver really able to make a big inroad is going to be Garcia. Garcia is already up to the third spot and is zipping his way to catch up to these two on the inside. Look at that 8 car.
And again, the center of the corner and speed, especially when he can arc right down to the white paint. As we continue to ride on board with Garcia, by the way, you talked about he's been able to be the only one making an inroad. That's because the other cars on new tires are in an absolute mess behind the race leaders, specifically back around the Alex Coffey machine as Garcia continues to work on Wilson. It was around Alex Coffey. It's even further back than that now. As new tires meet old tires, that has been a chaotic mess from about 9th on back. Coffey's finally through it now. Bowie got through it a moment ago. Vinson's through it now as well. As for a moment, that got really hairy between Coffey, Osmanoff, Vincent, and Harper.
Yeah, you just see how much some of the drivers have absolutely taken advantage of this and kind of proving the point of needing to get track position. But to get track position, you need luck, and we've seen the luck of the draw with the caution come into play. The speed of Garcia, though, is taking his car back up to second. He looks to try and clear, and maybe for the lead, too. Offset 3 wide for a moment. Outside gets the bumpers out as they push each other along. Garcia sends it again for second.
Big send, and look how late he gets to his apex as well in the center of the corner, and that allows that car to rotate really well. Look at the deep breath on board there for Garcia as he got off turn 4. Sigh of relief almost as he looks up and realizes he's the first man on new tires after that stage to make it back to the race lead. The stage 1 winner, he led almost 40 laps of our opening 45. Almost more contact there for second with Wilson and Matthews as that battle gets reignited once again, and Chris Davis is on scene now. A 3-way battle for second. It's about to be 4 because Brandon Bowie is slowly gaining into this battle as well, and Garcia is hoping that these 3 cars make it up for the 35, and he can scoot away just a little bit. 67 laps on the board in Chicagoland.
You just see the search around for a couple of these drivers still. Brandon Bowie, we talked about him trying to make some maneuvers here. He's been able to zip his way up to the top 5 also in this conversation, the pylon. So keep an eye on the 35 in the next moments or so with how this is going to go.
Yeah, interesting for sure for Brandon Bowie is, again, he's the second man on these new tires. Next after him would be Coffey in the 54, who's about 10 car lengths back. This emerging battle for the 4th position. The rest of the cars, including Vincent, Federblaze, and others, still working through the last of the old tire race cars as of right now. And again, it speaks to the track position you talked about. How about it for Trevor Osmanoff? And I talked earlier about Kenny Reel. By the way, he's back on the lead lap up to 21st. They're getting both those laps back in quick succession. But Ryan Catalano and Trevor Osmanoff are Reel's teammates. They've hit on the setup tonight. These 3 cars are all individually very, very sporty. They've all been in the top 10 at one point tonight. Reel started up inside the top 5, and Trevor Osmanoff on 5-lap older tires. One of the best runs we've seen out of him as well.
Look at Kenny Reel. We mentioned him about a lap or so down, maybe 2 with his situation. So he's back in the lead lap. So he got the couple cautions, bang, bang, that helped him in his circumstances. The 99 is down the order, but he's back in the ball game. He's back in the right ballpark. Bowie, once again, doing Brandon Bowie things. He is looking for second.
And it just shows you the raw speed underneath the 35 he's had all year long, although he'll face another challenge here off turn 2. And this is kind of the trade-off right at the bottom of the racetrack in Chicagoland. It is the fastest way around the racetrack per se. But when you get into some dirty air, the side force of this race car, you can provide that bit of a moment of no momentum where you end up behind a couple of cars and all of a sudden you're having to battle back 2-3 positions. Bowie got a little bit lucky right there. He was able to ride the top side and maintain position with Blaine Wilson. 20 to go at the stage, at the line there, already nearing the end of stage 2 and the halfway mark of tonight's race. This one is flying by. Only 1 caution for incident, 1 for the stage to end off stage 1 clean and green. So far here in stage 2, Bowie alongside Wilson. He'll nose ahead. That is for the 2nd spot. Bowie versus Garcia starting to become a reality here in late stage 2 as Davis watches on.
Now, in our news, what's Garcia doing? Well, what's going through his mind? You can see him shuffling in the seat. He is stone cold. Now that he's got a bit of a buffer here with under 20 to go on the stage. Bowie still looking for second.
Well, yeah, Stone Cold is right. Again, this is his teammate, and you'd argue who knows him better than his teammate Nico Garcia in terms of talking about Brandon Bowie. So these two race around each other a lot, obviously practicing against one another a lot, and then they've shared battles this season as well. Garcia knows what he's up against here as Bowie clears to second ahead of Blaine Wilson. He knows exactly what he's got on his hands now as Bowie's the second car in line. Now Bowie has to make about 9 car lengths to get there and create a battle for the lead at the end of stage 2. But certainly I don't think scared's the word I would use for Nico Garcia looking off the back of our race leader right now. Alex Coffey has caught this battle as well. He's battling Aaron Matthews. That is for 5th. Coffey's back into the picture as well. He's the 3rd car on new tires. Next car back on those new tires will be Fetter Place. He's in the 8th spot.
You've just seen some of the drivers continue to play around here, if you will, and try and figure out what they can do next to keep on picking up these spots. All this is to say, some of the drivers like Vincent, as he bounces off Trevor Ashron off in the background, is one of those doing really well in terms of what he's doing again, back in the top 10. He's been one of the drivers capitalizing pretty well from this strategy situation. He's top 5 out of those situations.
Yeah, Chris Vincent, and he's had a lot of speed on the 1.5 miles this year. I know we've talked at length about Chris Vincent's season so far, his rookie campaign for Beast Mode Performance, but at these 1.5 miles specifically, he's got a ton of raw speed underneath that race car. We know the machines that Beast Mode can bring to the racetrack at these 1.5 miles, but Vincent, in terms of execution, has been very good this season. This being one of his more impressive runs, though, as he tries to work back into the top 10. He's just gotten back around Trevor Osbornoff. That's for the 9th spot. That battle will continue over in turns 1 and 2. He was as high as 4th position on that first run in stage 1. Really impressive for the Vincent machine. Ryan Catalano, another guy we talked about, he's up to 12th, back to around where he finished stage 1 at, as all of a sudden Garcia looks up. His lead is disintegrating. It's down to 3 car lengths. Here comes the points leader, Bowie versus Garcia, brewing late in stage 2.
Yeah, Brandon Bowie again moving forward. Remember, a 6-time winner this season. What else can you say? He's very long-winded when it comes to his conversation points, but he definitely knows how to drive a race car.
Yeah, to say the absolute least, JP, and you wonder, he gets back to victory lane. We'll be saying Baba Bowie in victory lane. Brandon Bowie second. We're right back to turn 1 as he works on Nico Garcia. Blaine Wilson in the popcorn seat for this, by the way, in the 3rd spot, although he'll have to start looking in the rearview mirror momentarily. Coffey's worked into this. Fetter Place starting to work on Corey Moore. That's for 7th as he is getting into this battle as well, starting to work into the battle for the top 5 positions. Another guy who, again, we've not mentioned a ton tonight. I know we mentioned him in the points conversation, but a guy on 1.5 miles this year, he has been as rock solid gets. The winner at Charlotte, the winner of the All-Star race, back-to-back weeks. And on 1.5 miles, he's been as good as it gets. Battle for the lead. Bowie to the inside of his teammate Garcia in 1 and 2.
Once again, taking a poke. Nothing doing for now as they all set up and get themselves sorted. Once again, Bowie will do this again. Inside for him with the clean air. Garcia using the high side, carrying the momentum again. But look how much Bowie's making it stand up and stay. He's along to the door. He could try and clear if he wants it. He'll go for the slide attempt, but Garcia goes for the pinch attempt.
Yeah, Garcia has been very good defensively in this race as well, utilizing between the 2nd and the 4th lanes on this 1.5 mile racetrack. He'll continue to play good defense here on his teammate back down to turn 3. A little bit less of a pinch this time in turns 3 and 4. Bowie will brave the bumps on the bottom of the racetrack. It'll pay dividends for now, but not for long. Drag race down the front stretch, 10 to go in stage 2. And this is the difference in ideals that we mentioned back in stage 1, JP. Bowie cutting the distance short, going down to the apron. Very rough on the bottom of the car. Garcia opting to stay up on the racing line, not following Brandon Bowie down there, letting him go down there and taking a little bit higher arc into turn 1, and it paid off for him as he clears back to the race lead.
And nicely done for Garcia on the defense with under 10 to go on the stage. By the way, out of those still making the moves, Coffey is right now hunting down that battle for third, Wilson and Davis. Better place up there inside the top 10 also of some of the notables. Also holding on the last spot on the stage points is still Timothy Harper, with Trevor Usher still down at 9th. But it's been an interesting race overall. The track temps picked up, mind you. Remember, when a lot of these drivers would have ran leagues years ago, a couple of years back, especially around, say, 2019, 2021-ish, depending on the time, this track was a lot different response-wise. Bowie using this new track time tempo to his advantage to the inside for the race lead. Can he clear this time? No.
Oh, and pulled way off the racing line there. It's going to cut some speed off, and obviously these two are going to play a little bit nicer. They are still teammates at the end of the day. They're both trying to win. They also realize the big picture. Still 117 to go. This time, Bowie gets the job done. He clears in front of Garcia. As they work down the front stretch, Garcia will opt to push. Does not jump back out of line. And now I'm curious, where do they go in turn 1? Garcia right back to the top side. Bowie down to the white paint. Is Garcia able to carry the run off turn 2? The answer, he is. Bowie slams the door. Garcia crossover, but stays in line back to turn 3. And again, you wonder if Garcia sees the big picture. He'll jump up the track again. And now he's into the high rent districts. This is as high as we've seen the 8 run tonight. Will it pay off for him is the question. All 4.
Yep, so as right now, Bowie continues to work himself around the bottom of the track and defend. Looking pretty good. Garcia got a little too high up. Looked a little bit to something to his right there for a quick moment. Might be checking on something in terms of black box or shaking his head. Now, keep in mind, it's Bowie's prerogative if he wants to try and move up the track or anything along those lines. These are drivers in the same camp, but still, sometimes thought process is going to go different ways here. As you see, there's the cut up the track. This time doesn't impact him too much.
Yeah, even though they are teammates, we just talked a moment ago about them helping each other and seeing the big picture. Obviously now, maybe the tiniest bit of frustration coming in for the Garcia camp. He'll cut down across again, but this time better corner for Brandon Bowie, and he opens up the gap by about 2 to 3 car lengths. Garcia will close back up. It's the impact of the draft that we've seen throughout this race. 5 to go, stage 2. Garcia back to the top. Bowie unwavering, still deciding to run the bottom. Not coming up off the white paint hardly at all on this second stage run. It's where he feels the most comfortable, whereas Garcia appears to feel the most comfortable up the racetrack, which in the longer run seems to benefit the 8 on every run, but this one so far. He continues to run down Bowie. These two, by the way, have run away by about 15 car lengths on Wilson, who's opened up a bit of a buffer for the 3rd spot for now, as Coffey and Fetter Place both run him down for a potential 4th place battle at the end of this stage. Garcia back to the top side. A lot of guys now 3rd, 4th, even 5th lane of the racetrack late in stage 2.
Coming up to 2 to go in the stage. Garcia looking for one last reset. Try and get some big points here. Remember, only 12 starts in the season for Garcia. Technically speaking, he's on the cut if you factor the non-chase totals coming in for the points. It's going to get interesting how they consider him for the standings and amongst itself. As remember, so many starts can come into play. He is not one of those considered in terms of official for the postseason. He can still just run for race wins though, and sometimes you'll hunt for victories. We're coming to 1 to go, and Bowie is Baba booing his way around the racetrack.
1 to go in stage number 2, and Garcia continues to hound his teammate up front as they work into turn 1. The 2 leaders are continuing to be nose to tail, although Garcia works up the racetrack. He'll get to the back bumper here down the backstretch. Another shuffle for Garcia, and you wonder, does he try anything here in turn 3? No, he'll go back to the top side and maintain the line he's been running, see if he gets a run off 4, but really good corners there late in the run for Bowie.
Checker flag coming up. Brandon Bowie takes the green-white checkered, this time over Nico Garcia. Chris Davis, Blaine Wilson, Alex Coffey, Brandon Fetterplace, Corey Moore, Aaron Matthews, Trevor Usher, and Timothy Harper. Amongst those in your top 10 to end off your second stage. Again, brought to you by RS Button Boxes.
obviously Brandon Bowie gets the storyline there for winning the stage. Bowie and Garcia sharing the battle, but Blaine Wilson, I think he desperately needed that. 4th plus 18. Corey Moore, good run for him. Aaron Matthews, we talked about his struggles in 2026. And how about it? Trevor Osmanoff, a pair of stage points there.
Going to help out his totals a little bit as he's running 30th in the points coming in 11 starts. Kenny Real, you see amongst those. I think he's busy typing. He's typing to somebody. That's why he keeps looking up and down, up and down. Yes, we can see you typing. Make sure to drive in a straight line. You can see he's just trying to make sure he doesn't do what I've done a couple times by accident, run over everybody in front of them. That is a protestable thing. Do not do that. So, that being said, difference from front of the field to back to the field in terms of composure. They've already caught up to the pace car and very quickly are getting right to work for pit road. And as these drivers get themselves set, Adam's still busy getting the storyline. Zach, I believe you're standing by.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Obviously, the Bowie and Garcia show, the two boys, as we would call it, doing a great job. Obviously, finished 1-2 there. Brandon Bowie's going to bring it down. He's going to go 4 tires of fuel. No adjustments out of the aero camp so far. Now you look ahead to Garcia, obviously doing a great job this evening. A stage 1 victory, a P2 finish here in stage 2. We'll see what he elects to do. He's going to go 4 tires and fuel as well. Adam, anything on pit road?
Corey Moore still tight after that run here. Nigel Christensen regrets staying out for the stage points. And then Shane Davis complaining about his brake pedal right now. It is broken. Over to you, Zach.
Well, thank you, brother. Obviously, the race off pit road looks pretty good, so I'm going to send it back up to the booth. I'm going to go find a hot dog, cheeseburger, maybe some pizza rolls somewhere, mozzarella sticks. I'll go find something. I'll talk to you guys later.
Matt Mettler just had a technical issue right as that report finished up as well. But the Impact Sim Designs 300 is under caution. We're coming up to 1 to go. You're watching Precision Entertainment. Welcome back. Look at this. The fog just roared over the track, Dawson. Stage 3 underway for the Van Louis Stickles restart zone. Where did this come from? Chris Davis getting turned. He's going to go up the track. And all of a sudden, the fog hits and the chaos hits.
And the fog often means ominous conditions over the racetrack, and that's exactly what we get immediately on the break of stage 3. And it's a pair of cars. We talked about their efforts in stage 2 to maintain track position. That's gone just like that. And what a tough break for Davis and Wilson. There's one other car involved. I think it's Wayne Bowen, who actually gets a borderline Kyle Busch restart back here around the halfway mark of the field. You're on board with him. Again, this is going to start up front. And Bowen got hit from behind. You saw it right there. He got a little bit of help. Was in the binders trying to get away from this crash and had no choice but to pile in.
And really, this is part of a major shift in the track temp, down 4 or 5 degrees with this restart. We also had tire wear as a potential factor for some of the drivers previously. But obviously, you don't expect this right off the rip, especially Wilson with Davis trying to protect bottom.
Well, I think Blaine Wilson's on board, told the whole story right there, and you talked about it right there in terms of not expecting that. I think as late as he jumped in the brakes, you just don't think it's going to happen. You're going still pretty slow into turn 1 at Chicagoland. You're getting up through the gears, and you don't really expect someone to come across your nose. And you see the slightest bit of late reaction from Wilson. He's watching the cars around him, in front of him, behind him, to what they're going to do in turn 1, setting up his line and getting settled in for this stage 3. And for Wilson, it's tough to jump in the binders and have that all happen at once. For Aaron Matthews, you want to talk about a close call here, right in front of the 5. That's a big avoidance from him, from a guy who desperately needs a good run.
Macho gets the lucky dog with this caution. Again, your replays brought to you by Top It Off Hot Sauce Company here tonight. As, oh well, what can you say? Trouble coming in. So, good opportunity to catch up with one of the drivers here in the next moments or so. Let's check in with Nico Garcia. In fact, as he runs up in the front of the field. Nico Garcia, this is the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
First things first, how are you feeling about the race car at the moment? Up in P2, working with your teammate here.
Yeah, car feels fantastic. I mean, the car is really, really good right now. I haven't ran the car on a track temp this previous week in officials like we are here. The track was probably 30 to 40 degrees hotter, so it's a completely different feel on the race cars. A ton of grip. I think that's kind of helping the way the setup's kind of built. So we're just gonna try to hang with Bowie here and then see if we can pull away from these other guys here.
I want to go already here. You mentioned part of the game plan. What's going to take to beat him on the racetrack? Because you two have led with you 55 and him 16, have led a combined 71 laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wherever it comes down to at the end. I mean, we're teammates, right? So that's first. But whoever's got the pace, I think we're both really, really fast, and we'll see what happens. But we're definitely going to put on a show if we can.
Good luck here on the restart.
Thank you.
Nick Garcia, Speed West. Run down into the top 10. Brandon Bowie followed by Nico Garcia, Alex Coffey, and Aaron Matthews, the top 4. Corey Moore and Brandon Fetterplace are in row 3. Row 4, Timothy Harper and Chris Cornett. Kyle Holden, Kenny Reel is in the top 10 for the restart, for the Van Louis Stickers restart zone. So it's an interesting twist here, is what we're seeing here for the field. Let's find out what's going to happen here on this restart. Back underway. Gas pedal hit. Bowie and Garcia starting off strong off the restart.
I feel like the fog has gotten even stronger than just a moment ago on our last restart to start stage 3. The fog continues to roll over virtual Joliet, Illinois. Bowie away with the lead. Garcia away with second. Coffey clears up in front of Aaron Matthews. That's for third. Further back, the jostling begins with Chris Cornett underneath Timothy Harper for the time being here. Back to turn 3. Big jolt to the outside for Matthews on Coffey. Power move for the arrow entry. The neon yellow number 5 for third. As further back, this is where the jostling is. We talked about a moment ago with Moore and Cornett and Harper and Reel, who is back up to the 9th position. The recovery drive for Kenny Reel as Gallimore peeks around the outside. Staggered 3 wide off turn 2.
Here these drivers getting very aggressive in the midst of this pack. Look at some of these aggressive sends up the inside. That is this one off. Kyle Horton, here we got turn already by the 11 out through 1 and 2. Here we get to turn around in 3 and 4. To follow along with the action real quick, let's send it down to pit road. Adam.
Blaine Wilson had to come into the pits after that crash, had a minute 14 worth of damage, all optional, did put up 48 seconds on that damage, and he is back on the racetrack.
Thank you very much. He's running 27 on the check-in with him so far as he turns the laps. Hopes for an air caution to get the fix is done. Big shout out, by the way, to Alan Elwood. See on the cars up in first and second, specifically on second, the Elwood Design eSports logos. That's a team that runs in various other leagues, ran by Alan Elwood. He's the points leader in the MCC Pro-Am Karting Championship over at MCC Cincinnati. Has that points lead by, without the drop, 400 nearly points. Has the points lead with the drop over Matt Geist by 110. So, Alan Elwood coming out to support his drivers from other series.
Definitely cool to see that there. That's a huge points lead for Elwood. Not quite the lead that Brandon Bowie has, or actually more so the lead than Brandon Bowie has over here on Wednesday nights. Quick note on Alex Coffey. He's on the backslide here. Coffey's dropped all the way from the 3rd spot back to 9th on this restart here in the beginning of stage 3. Something either amiss on the 54 or he has gone into conserve mode early in this stage. He's now to battle with Gallimore for the 8th position as he's been bypassed by Matthews, Moore, Harper, Cornett, Reel, and now the 11 for BMP. Coffey going the wrong direction early in stage 3 as other cars work forward on the racetrack, notably in front of him. Couple battles going. Harper against Moore as Gallimore looks to the inside of Kenny Reel.
Still nothing doing for Coffey. Meanwhile, on the onboards here, look at the staggering behind him. Right now you have Roger stacking up, Astronaut dropping back. Better place, striking to drive forward here. A few of these drivers just looking for some sort of step up, if you will. A couple of them really aggressive to the apron as we are just about towards the time in a few minutes when the lights will turn on. That includes your biggest mover, Chris Cornett. Caution flag is out. The fog brings a second incident, and this time it's going to involve Matt Mackin. Trevor Ashwinoff is involved with running in 12, and he got loose.
Oh man, what a tough break after such a great run for Osvernoff. We'll go back to the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replay as it will be the black and red number 89 carrying the red line team colors tonight. He works into turn 1 and goes across one of the many bumps on this older surface, gets sideways, gets in the wall. All is well until a big hit from Matt Mackin late into that incident.
I almost wonder if it was air off the spoiler more than anything, because that 34 did cross behind on the bumper, not contact-wise, but right across the spoiler. Matt Mackin, how did he get collected? He was running the back of all this, and, well, I think he just drove through him, didn't he?
Yeah, indeed he did, and not much break input there either. It doesn't look like for Mackin. Not sure what the deal was there. We'll go on board with him from 29th. And going back to the discussion you just had a moment ago, the air across the spoiler, it's actually interesting you mentioned that. Had seen some drivers this past week talking about the air on the back of the spoiler, how it can get from about a car length back. You can start to feel the air effects when a driver comes from left to right or right to left. You can feel that arrow effect. So you wonder, perhaps that is the case. If Osmonaut's car gets upset right there when Better Place goes left to right, it upsets the air on the Osmonaut machine and gets him sideways. What a tough break regardless for that red line driver.
So the air definitely coming into play a bit here possibly. Put us back in the yellow as we look one more time at it at speed. Again, this did bring about more than a third of the field down to pit road. And it's an interesting time at the caution flag, mind you, because we're only about 14 laps, including pace laps into the run. You can't make it on that total, but as these drivers get sorted out here, I'm curious of this thought here, Zach. Drivers just asking on the radio, do we even have lights here? Well, we do, but they're asking.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing right now, obviously, is we haven't been here in so long. We even remember we have lights, right? Some guys got to go over there and make sure the light switch works, but 17 drivers were able to, or 17th on back were able to pit, right? Getting tires, getting fuel, maybe not taking tires, right? Some guys inside the aero camp, inside the first to engage camp, right? Some of the 0x sim racing camp. Those guys decided to come in, get some fuel, top it off, and maybe play the fuel strategy game. So obviously, I don't think they know that they can't make it from here, but maybe the fuel strategy saving game is something that they can hit on. Adam, what do you got?
Trevor Osnoth is done for the day. He got ARCA brake quote, he said, so he is out for this one. Alex Coffey, though, we mentioned him earlier, right before the caution. He is saving, and the team talking right now about what to do here. They're saying you got to treat this like a NASCAR A-class race, and they most likely won't be trying to make some moves here as Alex Coffey was trying to save all for nothing.
well. Interesting point. Definitely big on the fact that it is kind of a open, isn't it? Except for an extra 10 laps, Dawson. So you do have to plan like that. Hence why the one stopper. A lot of these drivers going to have an interesting one when we get back rolling, though, for the Van Looy Stickers restart zone. The lights are already on. The pace car is Bowie and Garcia still in the front. Then it's Harper, Matthews, Cornette, Moore, Real, Gallimore, Christensen, Coffey on your top 10. Let's take a listen to some sights and sounds. Time to rev the engines. Let's go. Garcia the leader once again, right ahead of Brandon Bowie. Matthews, Harper, Cornette. Your top 5 in the first couple laps off the restart. Really good effort from that 84. A change in paint scheme to get away from the nickname Walmart. Seems to be working for Walmart.
So far, so good for Cornette. Not only tonight, but of course had decent moments last week at Sonoma as well after the change. For the 84, it's what the doctor ordered for him. Same is the case for Aaron Matthews, who continues to maintain the top 3 as they run right now on the speedway. Look back from the leader, Nico Garcia, back to turn 1. Inside of 90 laps to go at Chicagoland, and he's got company. Here comes Brandon Bowie once again. And here comes Aaron Matthews. Matthews is not letting these two drive away just yet. Neither is Timothy Harper in the 4th spot. We talked about Cornette, Gallimore 6th, Nigel Christensen suddenly in the 7th spot. About for the 20 as he's inside the top 10 for one of the first times tonight. Another guy who needs a good run. Matthews is in that camp. Cornette's in that camp. Christensen, potentially most of all, below the cut line. Runs 7th right now. This would be huge.
First car of Freshies making its way through. This is Chris Vincent. How big do you think this play is to use that set already? Mind you, thinking about it, there's a couple sets you can play around with in this stage. Possibly up to 3, remember, if you stay to the game plan of a couple pit stops. One to end stage 1, one to end stage 2. You've got the sets to play with, and I'm surprised not as many people did use a set.
Well, not as many opportunities to use those extra sets as we've had at previous mile-and-a-half dates this year, which have, eclipsed the 10 caution mark. We've only had 6 tonight, if I recall correctly, and because of that, Vincent's got the freedom to come down and put that on the car. Just got a little bit loose there underneath Alex Coffey. He'll jump to the outside here, go right to the wall, and look at the drive he gets. The outside of the Coffey machine, that's working back around the 13th spot. We heard the report on Coffey just a moment ago. Maybe saving just a little bit on the 54 car, which again accounts for that backslide we saw early in the run here in stage number 3. Garcia continuing to lead. Vincent is up to 13th on those new tires now. And it's a long-term play. Get the tires now. Go get as much track position as you can. So if this race gets to a potential stop, or even if it doesn't, later on if we have another caution, Vincent's in a really great spot track position-wise late in this race.
Definitely something to watch for later. But as we said earlier, these two up at the front looking to show they have the pace. Still holding firm, Garcia and Bowie 1-2. Fall so far about 3/10 if you follow Bowie's personal best. If you go up like Garcia did earlier, it's more so a little higher than that because he ran a 6 in the 29-second bracket. That being said, though, look at Harper. He's got the run for 3rd. He's got speed. Just about door-to-door contact with a 5 and a 1.
This race reminds me a lot of Las Vegas for Timothy Harper, a race he could have finished as high as second in behind Alex Murray back at Las Vegas in the month of March. So for Harper, again, he got speed. He had speed throughout the race. It was Carlo that came on late. Big move to the inside. How about the dive for Chris Cornett? 3 wide for the 3rd spot. How about the 84 to the inside? Almost contact Harper and Matthews. Gallimore slaps the outside wall. Chris Cornett has arrived on scene, and if he can clear Aaron Matthews right here in turn 1, there will be nothing between him and the race leaders. And by the way, on 25 lap old Goodyears.
Again, impressive with what he's done tonight. At this point, as they roll their way through, Kenny Reel and his marks are moving forward. He's back up to 8th. The belt where he was running before, he had to open the door for somebody. Now he's looking for some doors to open for himself.
Yeah, how about it for Kenny Reel? Again, earlier, we talked about the red line cars. Catalano, Osborne, of course, Osborne tonight comes to a premature end. So unfortunate for that car. The Catalano's had speed tonight, and Kenny Reel, he qualified inside the top 5, went 2 laps down, restarted 26th, and he now is on the outside of Nigel Christensen and Vincent, but caution flag is out further back in the field.
And it's Chris Davis around the 87 car. He was running in 20th. I think Matt Cox may have made some enemies because he and Johnny Shade made contact. There goes the 87 in the grass.
It had gone to worse for Davis, and big damage on the front end of this race car as well. So obviously big problems here with that GMD sponsored 87 entry. And man, for a guy who seemed to have been getting the prime speed of his season over the last 6 weeks or so, this is not a setback that he wanted to see. There's the contact, Cox and Shade. Big hit to the outside safety barrier for Davis. Another couple cars involved a little further up as well.
That was definitely interesting, though. Johnny Shea was not happy on the radio. We heard conversation with him. You see right there. Right there. The A7 just spun a couple times over in that sequence here. Zach, you're standing by.
Yeah, I was able to find my way down to the first pit stall in the box. It's the number 84 machine of Chris Cornett, doing a great job here tonight, running inside the top 5. He told me, I know I'm going to pit if everyone else pits, or I'm going to stay out and take the track position. The whole field comes down and pits, so he'll take 4 tires and fuel here. We'll see how long he takes. He is off and away, so obviously some strategy call here for the 84. We'll see how it pays off, obviously with some great track position.
People right down pit road as Adam, they roll off and away.
Yes, they do. They are rolling off, and it's, of course, Alex Coppy. Not a great pit stop there as he lost a couple of positions on this pit stop, and everybody else going to race on out here. That 54 car is going to have a little bit of a struggle trying to get through the field here. Drops down to 19th.
So this was an interesting caution period coming up. Or he's mentioning Chris Davis. Let's bring him on the lawn. He's with Zach.
Thank you, guys. Obviously, Chris Davis, the 87 car, just caught up in that last wreck. Chris, what did you see outside the cockpit?
It just looked like Matt come up there just a hair bit and touched Johnny, and at that point, there was nowhere for me to go. I locked it up and just slid into him. So then I'm not sure who come flying in there and got into me, but you know that happens when you get sent to the back. So kind of sucks that had a good run going and somebody got a little anxious, stuck in a hole that wasn't there and sent me back there. So sucks, but it's part of it.
I mean, obviously you're doing a great job tonight, and now you head next week into Echo Park, so we're back to plate racing. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good. I think I've won the last 2 races there. Maybe it was one and then somebody else and then myself again, but feel really good there. We do good at plate track, so we'll go on and see what we can do.
We'll see if you can be Mr. Atlanta next week. Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, back up to you guys in the booth.
Take a look at the tower, by the way, as right now the 5th place car is where you'll find the first on freshies. That's Garcia, Chris Vincent, Kyle Holden, Matt Cox, Blaine Wilson, all staying out. Cox was in the incident. One major thing to note before we get to the Van Stickers restart zone, though, Dawson, buoy to the back. He got speeding.
Yeah, what a tough break. 79 laps, a long way to go. And for a guy who could slice through the field a mile and a half, surely not too long or not too short a distance for Bowie to get back into this fight for the win. Green flag back in the air as we roll through the panel of the Sickers restart zone. Holden doesn't go. Top lane stacks up. You're on board with Garcia from 5th, and he's going to see nothing but clean air when he gets to turn 1 as the 2 leaders now emerge in front of him. Holden stacked up the entire outside lane, and it's 2 and 3 wide chaos back around. Matthews, Wilson, Harper, and others working back from Garcia now. He's 3rd on fresher tires. Don't think this gamble pays off, although Cox jumps in the binders right in front of Garcia.
Yeah, a little bit chaotic this end. At least Cox slams the wall down. Still keeps on going. They all try and sort themselves out quickly. Garcia under attack by Cornette. Cornette 2nd on the freshies. Garcia looking outside for 2nd. See just now shifting the gears here with the way things are going. Remember, you have to play around with the gears a bit with the way this car works here at Chicagoland, so they didn't have to deal with years ago. Big moment at the bottom. It's a spin. It is the 20. It's Christensen up the track. Nigel Christensen in the wall, and the new look PRVA machine. We'll see. It's see a lot of damage.
Yeah, a tough break there, and you'd almost see this one coming as they were 3 wide back around that battle just inside of the top 10. You could almost see this one coming. This is back around Matthews and Christensen and Wilson, and they worked 3 wide off turn 4. This started because of the stack up on the restart. It created a lot of 3 wide, a lot of commotion back around this spot. There's the contact. It's actually Gallimore, not Wilson, apologies. But it's Gallimore into Christensen, and when he puts those left sides in the grass, it does not create a lot of grip putting the left sides down in the grass on the infield. And for Christensen there, it slides him around, and he slams into the outside wall, pancake style, there on the front stretch.
Puts us right back under yellow again. And really, as a result of how this is going to look here for a couple of the different drivers here, Jim Tree, Alonso's looking to survive.
Again, Christensen here as he slides through the grass. He's going to come back up, and look how close that gets for Jim Treat. You come off turn 4 as a driver, that guy is spinning sideways, and you don't expect him to come back up that fast. It was almost disaster there for Treat as he's just able to scoot by.
Able to survive as Christensen and Alonso's down pit road. Sanders, Bowie, Sanchez, Medina also coming down. Lucky Dog going the way of one of the BMP entries this time, that being Wayne Bowen. And as this all gets sorted out here, we're still outside the window for fuel at the big thing, Dawson. So right now, those who are topping off, probably gambling in case there's another caution here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're starting to gamble on fuel and starting to think about the potential strategy call coming up later if we get a caution at the right spot. Although we've had so many interruptions here in this stage 3, you wonder, is it worth it to even gamble, or do you want to just get on cycle and be able to gain track position later?
Exactly. And as we check in with one of the drivers, let's check in with Jim Treat here. Jim, you're amongst those who've had to dodge a few incidents tonight. How are you feeling with the car wrapped in bubble wrap?
Oh my goodness, I have no clue how I got through that one. I thought we were hitting for sure there. Yeah, I don't know. You guys probably see it a lot closer than I did, but it felt like we were hitting. So
obviously, it's been a crazy night for you. How difficult has it been trying to find the track position, get the track position in the 42 car?
Well, I'm just trying to play the tire saving game, and I haven't been doing very well at it, and it's been on me. The setup's really good. I need to do a little bit better positioning my car and getting into clean air and stuff like that. But I think I've got it in a pretty good position here to where I can move forward. I didn't take tire on that last pit stop. I'm trying to save a set because I took tire before trying to jump them a little bit, so I got to save a couple, but we're trying to just hang on here and survive. Then we get maybe another caution or a green flag pit stop.
To get back to your team, good luck here.
Thank you.
Jim Tree, go back to his team as we get ourselves reset for the restart. Gonna get interesting, keep in mind, but we went down pit road for fuel, and as we mentioned, a couple of the drivers did so in that regard. And so we've lost a camera, Bentley Stickers restart zone, expected to stay active. 72 to go, we're backing away.
Vincent times it up well again from the point. He'll get about a 1 car length advantage, maybe 2, and his teammate Matt Cox, who knows is inside for the second spot, 4 wide into turn 1. Matthews, Harper, Wilson, Gallimore were staggered 4 wide into the first corner right there. You thought the 3 wide earlier that caused the incident with Matt Cox was interesting. About 4, contact there, Harper and Wilson, a pair of Dig eSports Camrys come together, and into turn 3, it borderline looks like a Talladega race for a brief moment. Vincent, Cox, but through the center, here comes Chris Cornett.
Caution flag is out, we're back in our yellow though. Right as Cornett got up to the bumper. And we'll sort this out. I believe Nick King is it. Yes, he is. Nick King around.
This is back around the top 20 area of the racetrack. And again, this is what was a good night for Nick King. It's gone sour over the last about stage or so. As you're on board with Cornett, it's actually back around the Nick King machine that this one happens. He was 24th when this went down, back outside the top 15 or so. As he comes off turn 4, does he get the bump down here in turns 3 and 4 that we always worry about? No, he gets help from Alex Coffey.
And Corey Moore on the secondary. But that's one of the tough parts when you're offset 3 wide like that and you don't expect 3 wide, because remember, right here, Coffey's got the 3 wide call. Right here, King's got the 2 wide call. This is what happens when you only get a 2 wide call.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And as King comes back up again, he expects Coffey to be a little bit higher up. Again, I think it's very similar to what we saw earlier with Greg Carr, where he gets a clear call and doesn't expect William Owens to be as low on the racetrack as he was when he started to slide up. This is eerily similar to that here off turn 4. And Corey Moore, not much you could do there for the 19. The lucky part is he kind of just washed across the nose and did the Nick King machine there.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, I think, for both of those Dick cars, but still. Look how close this got right there. Just in front of it. And brings us back to caution. A few more coming down pit road as a result of this yellow. Here's Ryan Catalano amongst those able to dodge. Right up the middle. It's been a pretty calm night for him outside of that. And the top of the Ponce's Company machine continue to survive. Part of the key of scoring points is that tonight, Adam amongst those in the searching categories for different storylines. Adam, standing by. Adam. Adam?
Yes, I got Ryan Catalano going to join us here. Ryan Catalano here. Ryan, that was very, very close to being a huge disaster there, but good heads-up driving.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep my head on a swivel this race. That, previous spin there too on the apron, I had to gun it up and get past that. But yeah, I don't know. Always seems to be the MO for my races. I just always seem to find the trouble. Luckily, I've stayed out of it so far, so hopefully that trend continues.
Well, keep upwards and onwards here as we're coming to the green flag here momentarily.
Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, getting ready for the restart. Thank you very much, Ryan Catalano. We're already to turn 3 for the restart. As we get ready for the restart here, 68 to go. Big spot for that caution, by the way, Dawson. There is a chance if it goes green, Bowie on back makes it on gas.
Yeah, this could prove very, very interesting here as Bowie makes another fuel-only stop. He made the one on the last caution. He could very well make it on the number now. Green flag back in the air of the Van Lilly Stickers restart zone. top three were about to have a really great battle there when we got that caution flag off turn 4. Cox away with the lead. First time we've said that tonight. Matt Cox on the point in Joliet, Illinois. He'll rocket off turn 2 with the lead. Vincent trying to hold off a hard-charging, hungry Chris Cornett in the 84, looking for win number 1 of his career. Vincent in the same boat. Both those cars would love to go to victory lane tonight. Cornett through to second. He's got the leader in his sights. Back to the start-finish line. 67 to go, and here comes Cornett.
Cornett looking for a chance to lead for the first time tonight. Taking its time, but Matt Cox is the one in front for now. Still no sends yet on him. Vincent alongside Harper. Harper took away the top 3. Here we go as they work their way on the backup. Cornett looking for a way to save a bit, it looks like.
Yeah, maybe trying to get to that number. You wonder if maybe these top 3 cars are starting to think about that. Really, the top 15 or so need to start thinking about potentially backing off and saving. We mentioned earlier that Alex Coffey could have been starting to do that. New fastest lap of the race, 29.495. Matt Cox in the 0-0, all of a sudden on rails, out front of the field by about 8 car lengths on Cornett. Sunset off turns 3 and 4 is gorgeous, but not fun, I'd imagine, for the drivers out the windshield as they deal with a little bit of glare, although it is behind the clouds just a little bit. Speaking of Coffey, we're on board with him for a moment there. As Cox continues to lead, Cornett is second, Harper third. Garcia has settled into fourth for the time being, although he'll attack Harper here on the bottom for the 3rd spot. He'll unfortunately be defended there in turns 1 and 2. It's chaos from them on back, though, as Kenny Real, I think, was the car in the wall. It's a miss from Blaine Wilson on back into turn 3.
Still working their way through turn 4 as a result here as they all try and set themselves up. Keep in mind, not expecting too much aggressiveness out of those who came down the pit road in theory, because 68 is about near where you can make it very, very, very top in the gas tank in theory, Dawson. Right now, Brandon Bowie is that first driver on that strategy we have to keep an eye on as you take a look at your Van Stickers cameras. Some of those drivers in those cameras are going to have to be thinking, what can they do to stretch the gas tanks? Right now, not too much clutch and coast we can tell you for those in the deep of the pack, but those in the front of the field going back and forth still for the race lead. Cox still defending.
Yeah, but now Cornett along the inside. It's another lunge into turn 1, and it's again another unsuccessful effort. He'll have to jump back in line for now. The question for Bowie on back becomes, how hard do you want to run now? You don't want to maintain your track position. You want to get up front. So in the case that this thing does go green, you're in position to make it. You don't allow anyone in front of you to save any gas in the gas tank and make it to the end along with you. Because again, the longer you wait to go up front, the longer you wait to put some pressure on the guys in front of you, the more potentially a few of our leaders could save a little bit of gas. Now, they're a lot further off the number than Bowie is. Bowie, we believe, is right about on the number, as JP noted a second ago. But a few of the leaders could save and at least make it closer and make it tougher later for Brandon Bowie to make some of those passes. He's advanced from 18th to 15th on this restart. And as you see out the nose of this car, it will be tough sledding with the dirty air that is spread across this racetrack.
You see how much a few of these drivers are just trying to keep themselves calm here. Kyle Holden has had a few eventful moments with the bumper behind him at least. Tonight, though, keeping it steady. The 97 running 13th position. Expect him to usually be top 10. It's been a bit more of a challenge for one of the drivers. Remember, picked up a win in San Diego a couple weeks ago.
And a big win at that. Again, Kyle Holden's had speed this year, but it felt like it just never all came together. All of the puzzle pieces were just not quite there at sometimes for Holden. Even though despite the raw speed that group has had all season long, he finally picks up the win in San Diego, and now feels like that season's coming together, although tonight has not quite been the night that we thought. Big lunge up front. This is for the lead. Cornett dive to the inside of Cox again. They'll be side by side in turn 3. This time, Cornett, big time drive, gets a little bit loose. He was trying everything he could to slide up and get the lead from Matt Cox right there. And one of two things is going through Cornett's mind. Either he wants to get out front so he can dictate the pace and save a little fuel, or he knows he can't make it and he just wants to go get the track position, although it may backfire as he's under attack from Harper.
Once again, one attempt fails, the next one attempts to reset. Now Timothy Harper takes over the second position Now here's the challenge. Harper hasn't had clean air all night either. Hasn't led a lap tonight. 23 definitely seems to be quick this evening. It's felt like a while since we've spoken to him. He's 11 of the points. He's had a solid season, but not too many podiums yet of the dig car. He's one of the few in this pack starting to stretch out, like Gallimore starting to run away here amongst his top 5 breakaway.
Again, you wonder what the mentality is. Do these guys know they can't make it? They're trying to keep the pace up, obviously, to try to keep drivers like Brandon Bowie from making it as well. You wonder what the mindset is here in this mid-stage of the run. Garcia alongside Cornette. This is for third. And you wonder if Cornette's going into conserve mode. The entry to turn 1 tells me he has started to conserve just a little. Although his fuel situation, again, similar to these leaders. So you wonder if he's entered into conservation mode. By the way, Matt Cox on 36-lap-old Goodyears, as the report on pit road tells us, as he's continuing to hold off the field, though. Again, clean air has proved to be superior to tires at times. But as you get to the 50, 60 lap range, we get towards the end of this race, that's going to start to really take a toll on Matt Cox, and Harper has closed this gap up quickly.
Just seeing just how much the chart's on. Gallimore nearly got right around Cornette. Cornette's lucky he didn't get turned there. Levin tried to get to the outside and hit the wall to avoid the contact with them.
A scary moment there, not only for Gallimore and Cornette, for the cars right behind him who are lining up. Rogers, Vincent, Wilson in that group that's lining up behind Cornette, trying to make the pass and work their way forward, not allow these 3 leaders to scoot away even more with just 55 laps to go. Harper down to 2 car lengths back of Matt Cox as Cornette continues to hold off the Hornets' nest behind him, the pack of wolves that runs behind him right now. Back to turn 3, Harper a car length and a half back. He can almost taste the lead, but he's still got to get around Matt Cox, who's proven to be one of the best offensive drivers in the series as well.
Yep, and so we're inside the window, by the way, for those curious, for the fuel. So in the case of Matt Cox, would have to come in likely by 35 to go, if not 30. That's his situation. This is kind of huge that he's been able to stay up in front and maintain race-leading speed here, because the drivers on 14-lap newer tires have not been able to do anything. It's pretty clear, once you establish this pace with enough heat cycles or enough laps offset with green flag laps, you can make it stick out here. That's how critical the track position is tonight. Hold on, Gallimore just about got turned again. Chris Vincent got in him, and Vincent's now got damage because he got hit by Sean Rogers. And now Rogers has front nose damage too.
We'll take a look at it here in just a second. The Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replay. It's all BNP cars involved in this one. Rogers, Gallimore, and Vincent all coming together. I was just about to mention how they had 4 of their 5 cars tonight inside the top 10. They really hit on the speed when this incident happens over on the other end of the racetrack. Right there, bit of a squeeze. Vincent gets Rogers, who gets Gallimore. They all 3 come together. Now, not major damage on any of those cars. Biggest damage is going to be track position. Rogers dropping back to 12th in that exchange.
By the way, as you see one of the drivers that avoided that, remember Wilson's damage repair situation? He's moved up to 6th position, so he is on the charge. Speaking of going for a charge, that's second for Garcia, nearly spun it.
Boy, a big moment there for the man who's led the most laps tonight in Garcia. He works to second around Timothy Harper. Another couple drivers back on the move once again. Brandon Bowie's back inside the top 10. Alex Coffey's back inside the top 10. Back to 7th for Coffey as he has hit the go button once again in the 54. So again, around that fuel number, we're curious what the number is on the Coffey machine. He has hit the go button. He's back all the way to 6th. In fact, he just passed Blaine Wilson, or he nosed ahead rather, for the 6th position there in turns 1 and 2. Coffey on the move, trouble. Vincent's around, right around Brandon Bowie, a couple of cars sideways, and it includes the Bowie machine.
Caution is out, and it's a huge one. Bowie, who is hoping to stretch the gas tank, hope it stayed green, was going to be in a good spot. Not anymore. Vincent, who was just involved in that contact moments ago, amongst those involved again. Here's the onboard with the Top of the Hot Sauce Company replay.
Saw this one sparking up to Vincent loose there in turn 2. Bowie thought he had it cleared. Vincent gets turned. and it's game on, unfortunately for Bowie. It means he gets spun sideways. Man, lucky there, the tire's still rolling as Bowie tried to get that thing saved, and a couple other cars coming on from behind did not get into him and create even more damage on this 35. We'll see it again here. Watch Vincent up ahead, the black and red BMP 33. He's going to be the car that gets loose, and nowhere to go for Kenny Reel, who tried to jump in the binders. There's just not much you can do right here, but Vincent gets loose, and it's on from there.
And so, this is going to spark a flurry of stops in the next moments or so, you have to think. Here's Fetter Blaze. And this is going to be an absolute flurry of competitors coming up.
Yeah, flurry of pit stops, and I'm a little surprised nobody decides to stay out here. You talked about Bowie is not the only one on that fuel strategy, and you know, judging on the guys that all come to pit road, I'm a little surprised we didn't see somebody 15th, 18th, 20th on back stay out and try to do what Matt Cox just did, which is defend the lead on 40-lap old tires.
Adam.
Well, we got Vincent, who is out of this race. Chris Vincent, too much damage to continue. Matt Cox, 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and he's going to be sitting in a great position. Go over to you, Zach.
Thank you, guys. Obviously, Bowie, a little frustrated with that one. He was saying, man, I was all the way down on the dotted lines, and somehow I still get tagged. Only 12 seconds of damage optional for him. I really hope he got a replay, though, of that 34 car. Brandon Fetterplace doing a great job going around. Obviously, the viewers at home, you saw his wreck avoidance skills, so a great job by Brandon Fetterplace. He'll get tires and fuel, and he's off and away. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go find a monitor to watch the rest of this one.
It's going to be an interesting one. We're back at our caution for the Impact Sim Designs 300. Coming up to 1 to go this time. 47 to go from Chicagoland. Bentley Circus restart zone time as we are all set to go with Barry Sanders on a fuel only. Your race leader, 46 laps to go. Timothy Harper, Matt Cox, Nico Garcia behind him. They're all stacking up behind the 88.
A boss man with a big bold call to go out front of the field. Trouble! Garcia spins off the left side door of Cox. He goes to the apron. It will stay green, but not for long. He's going to slide back up. Nico Garcia, the dominant car of the night, around and puts us back under caution.
Well, that was quick, and once again, yellow flag strikes, and Garcia does not look too happy with that. Looks like he's got a bit of damage here, too, in the left front. So one of the fastest cars of the night is wounded, 66 laps led. Not anymore. Let's take a look.
I think this is going back to something we talked about early on in the show. We mentioned the bumps that got taken out in turns 1 and 2. There is definitely still one there. It's toward the exit of turn 2. Garcia's car hit that bump, and for the first time tonight got upset. So interesting. He's run that line all night long. And you wonder, is there some aero loose involved? You see Gallimore right on the spoiler. It's similar to what we saw earlier, potentially, with Trevor Oswald.
Yeah. And so, it's a big yellow flag here. And better yet, as this gets interesting here, now what do you do? For some of the drivers, we know much of the field's not going to come down again. Some of the drivers are down to one set here, so you got to be careful on your choices. Garcia is going to have to be forced to take some damage repair here. This is 5th pit stop of the race right here. Johnny Shade is the air car with him.
Yeah, I think as we get into this helps Barry Sanders big time in the 88, because now a few more laps under caution, a few more laps to maintain track position.
Right now, pit stop underway for Garcia. Zach is checking in with that cam.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Nico, we're down on pit road quickly while you're sitting in the pit stall. How's the car? What's going on?
It's got some damage on it, but we'll get it fixed. I don't really know what happened. I think I might have hit that bump in 2, and it just kind of sent it around, but it's okay. Car's got a lot of pace in it. I'm not really too worried about it. We'll get back up there. I'm not too worried. I'm trying to get as much damage as I can fix right now.
I mean, the 34 car's doing a great job. Your boy, the 35's doing a great job with Bowie. What's the game plan working with your teammates inside the stable?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just getting back in the rhythm and then trying to just take advantage of what we got in the race car. Hopefully, I can help them out as much as I can, but you never know, So I'm just trying to do what I can.
All right, the pace car's coming out. Go if I were you if you want to stay on the lead lap. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep. Back up to you guys.
Garcia back to work to get himself back rolling here. And in our conversation, Adam's queuing up with the boss man, career leader, coming up to 1 to go, Barry Sanders. Adam.
Hey, Barry, you're on the pole here as we're coming to the restart. How you feeling? Oh, never mind. He left.
Barry did not want to discuss things, it looks like. Apologies there, as it looks like he's in game focus mode here, Dawson.
Yeah, and again, I talked about it a moment ago. A few more laps now to stay out front and maintain track position. The more cautions we have, the more help it gives. The Red Bull-inspired aero entry of Barry Sanders as he continues to lead, looking for win number 1 of 2026. What a win it would be for the boss man if he can lock in. And boy, locked in is he ever as we get ready for this restart.
Lights are on, 42 to go. Hearing the nose is fixed for the 8 machine, by the way, after all of that. And the Van Lewis family stickers restarts on the set. Back to racing we go.
And Gallimore did not go from the 5th position. It snacks up the bottom line from Coffee all the way back past the Gin Treat machine. And back to Rogers as well, almost a crash. That's back around Brandon Boo where he restarted. Inside and outside for Sanders. He gets eaten alive on the restart. Harper on the top side, Cox on the bottom side. Advantage Timothy Harper as he goes to the lead. Cornette follows through on the rim rail. He gets all the way to 3rd. He'll battle Cox for 2nd. Wilson around Sanders. Gallimore with a slip. Close there as up front they duke and jive for the lead. Harper, Cox, 1, 2, and Cornette's in this picture as well, back to 1.
Back and forth they go for the race lead. A squeeze, some contact. Cox pushing on Harper. Here comes Cornette. 3 wide for a moment. Cornette's got the boost though to the inside. He looks to take the 84 to the lead. He's still yet to lead a lap tonight. Can he get the edge of a Harper who's now gotten at least 1 on the board? Not yet. Harper still with the squeeze.
And here comes Matt Cox right back into the picture thanks to the side trap. Cox goes to Kyle Larson territory up against a safer barrier. The other two focused on each other. Cox trying to ride the rail. Can't quite do it. Cornette going to be at the losing end of this one. Cox going to fly by him for 2nd as Harper gets the boost forward to the lead. Blaine Wilson's in the picture now. He's 4th. Gallimore 5th. And welcome back to the party, Alex Coffey in the 54. As he works back into this, he's working on Gallimore. Behind them, Ryan Catalano. Where did he come from? He's 7th back to turn 1.
So that's now looking out really well for that fuel only all of a sudden with a big difference on tires after a smaller difference building up. Now Catalano amongst those rolling forward right behind Coffey.
Catalano looking for clean air rather as he works on Alex Coffey. By the way, Brandon Bowie is 9th. He restarted 18th back around the end of the top 20. He is P9 as the field crosses the line. Further back, a little 3 wide around Jim Treat. That's going to get sorted out in turn 1 in just a moment. You're on board with Bowie. How about the try for him, up 10 positions since the restart, and sees a battle in front of him, Catalano in better place.
You can just see that 35 is rolling fast, to say the very least. Again, looking to fight forward. He did not come down pit road from that slide a few moments ago, by the way. Harper has the gap, but the caution flag is out again. Now what do you do for strategy? It's Aaron Matthews, who's a part of those around for the caution.
Another tough break for a guy that needed a good run. It does appear it's just a spin, so similar to Garcia and Bowie, it appears it is just a spin for the 5-car of Aaron Matthews. We'll talk strategy in a second. This was back around that 3 wide that I thought it sorted out over off turn 2. And as they get to turn 4, it still is not sorted out. And Matthews turned the bumper of Sean Rogers. Jim Treat, the innocent bystander there, he's in it as well. And it's not just a spin. Big damage for Matthews, even bigger damage for Treat in the 42.
You can see Treat, oh wow. Right up the track for the 42. Remember, we had discussion involving the wreck avoidances earlier on. Just missed avoiding that one.
Yeah, it was razor thin close too. What a tough break for Jim Treat.
And this puts us right to the caution flag. Let's see if anybody rolls down pit road this time, as that was your Talbot Alfonso's company replay. Matt Cox amongst those staying out on the track. He's caught up onto the radio here. Matt, you're up in second. It's been an up and down night. You've been in a bit of contact here or there, but you've also been leading at times tonight. You've led 23 laps. Talk us through this roller coaster of a night.
Yeah, I mean, the game plan is just to hit everything that I can, get all my damage fixed, and wreck whoever I need to wreck for the win.
Okay. So what's the actual game plan?
Well, track position's crazy important. It feels like the tires just don't really fall off. So just going to really try to survive the first few laps of this until we either get a yellow or we settle in, and then I can just hopefully outsave Tim here and go win it. So that's the actual game plan.
Yeah, that first plan has some flaws in it. But,
you know.
But how would you describe the track? One more question about how it feels compared to before it was updated 2026 specs. No, in some series, people said that bumps felt like they're gone in 1 and 2. Have you felt the same?
I mean, the only real bad bumps in 1 and 2 is just the entry there on the top. So the bottom's really not that bad. The worst bumps for me are in 3 and 4, but even so, I mean, it's really not that bad. There's so much grip out there tonight, like, you can rip it whatever lane you want to rip, and it's going to be fine. I mean, you kind of see that from just the different people who have been up front all night. It's not just the same people. Anybody can run tonight, so it's going to be tough to win.
Let you get back. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Matt Cox, go into a flurry of conversations. Let's send it down trackside to Zach real quick.
Yeah, Jim, down in the infield treatment center just got released. Obviously, you had a great run going. What happened there?
I feel like I was probably in the wrong place at the wrong time from what they're seeing their replay. So great racing though, right there. We were three and four wide there for a few laps. A lot of fun. I'm just grateful to put a good run together anyway. So
yeah, glad you're okay. We'll send it back to the booth for the restart. But thanks for talking.
Yep, no problem. Thank you guys.
Jim Treat involved in the incident there, and we're coming up to Family Circus restart zone time. Harper still in control for the restart, back underway. Game plan 1, we already heard that conversation put from Matt Cox. Game plan 2, we'll find out if he can execute it from second, because he's got the rule, and he's cleared by the 18. Cornette shuffles to 4th.
And Dig eSports tried to time up that restart. 3 cars in the outside lane, and Matt Cox kind of matched their jump on the inside. He got a really good start and maintained second. Brandon Bowie went 3 wide around Catalano further back. He's all the way up to 7th. He's working on 6th. He may be 5th by the time they get to the backstretch. Brandon Bowie, a man possessed. By the time they get off turn 2, he's the fastest car in virtual Joliet, Illinois right now. Although he'll be caught the bottom of 3 wide. He'll have to rebound. Contact Coffee Gallimore. That's dangerous. As Fetter Place thought about a dive as well.
See how much things are getting dicey here. Fetter Place looking for a place to go. Coffee amongst those looking to go. Remember, Coffee was one of the front runners in the early part of this race. Right now, Bowie, though, wants to get around them both. Look at that send to the bottom. He zipped by like he was standing still.
That car is completely dialed in. It's a driver that's dialed in as well, though now he'll be attacked once again by Coffee. Gallimore gives him a nice little boost there into turn 3, and he'll maintain the spot. Coffee lunges into turn 3, though the game is not over yet for Brandon Bowie for the 5th position as Coffee attacks him on turn 4. You're on board Brandon Fetterplace. This is from the 8th position. As Bowie does clear down in front of Coffee now, Fetterplace watches on and may take a breath here with 30 laps to go. This racing has gotten more and more exciting, more and more edge of your seat as this race nears its conclusion. Continue to watch from Fetterplace for a moment. In front of them, Bowie going to work on Cornette here. This would be for 4th in turn 3. Big lunge. Cornette blocks to the white line. Chris Cornette slams the door shut in Bowie's face, and now Coffee's back to the outside of him.
Coffee not wanting to make this easy. By the way, Nico Garcia's recovery up to the top 10. As said, he is moving forward too. So a lot of the drivers have taken some hits tonight. But all the cautions getting at least a chance to recover and get back into position here. It's been a little bit more of an attrition-filled mile and a half than we're used to say the very least here in this one, Dawson. But it's allowed for a lot of comers and goers, comers and goers, comers and goers, back and forth on the levers.
The tire strategy has gotten all over the place as well, and that contributes to it also. The various 2 tire calls, no tire calls, deciding to stay out, flip the stage, has just made this race so intriguing because it seems everybody's on a different strategy with Goodyear Eagles at any given point in the race. Big hit for the Walnuts. Catalano from the 9th position. He's going to drop that spot to Nico Garcia. As Timothy Harper continues to lead for now, Wilson trying to hold off Cornette as they both try to hold off Coffee, who has gotten back around Brandon Bowie, by the way. Bowie now on the tail end of the Alex Coffee machine as that race within the race continues. That's 5th and 6th on the track right now. Garcia is approaching these two, by the way, up to 9th as he works the outside lane.
Still, though, as things settle on out, it's looking good if you're a Harper fan because the gap's starting to grow a bit. And some of the drivers that we see making the heavy inroads off the restarts have a little bit of a harder time now making up that same positioning here, Dawson. So what do you do to make up the ground without destroying your tires here? We know Wilson, for example, has been one of those who's been a bit up and down the order. Got track position with stage 2, had an incident, got the track position back. He's one of those that is running about dead equal to the 0-0 in front.
That's the problem. That's the dilemma, right? Is there a way, almost a tight roll with their Coffee and Cornette off turn 4 just behind the Blaine Wilson car as we continue to ride on board with him? But that's almost the dilemma that you're in as a driver in terms of not wanting to destroy your tires. You may not have much option. You've got to get clean air. We've seen Matt Cox prove that tonight, leading 35-40 laps in this race on old tires because he had clean air. Clean air is king. And to get clean air, you're going to have to move up. By moving up, you do more damage to the Goodyears. So that's the trade-off. You want to gain track position, you got to get uncomfortable. You've got to get out of the racing line on the bottom side of the racetrack. Be willing to experiment, search around. That's what Chris Cornette's doing right now to play some defense on Coffee. Maybe some contact there with 24 to go between those two. Timothy Harper's loving this, saying, yeah, waste all your energy on each other. I'm going to scoot away and potentially try to steal this thing.
I mean, why not try and run away from the chaos? See Cornette, he's getting a little bit dangerous with some of the defensive maneuvers there with the 84 car. He's all over the bumper of Brandon Bowie. Just about got himself right in front of the 35 in the turn 3. So Cornette, close quarters racing, not wanting to lose this top 5. Cornette, again, Best race of the season by far, still fighting.
And that car's got some speed under it. Several drivers came to the track with really, really good race cars this week and having their best efforts of the season in tonight's race. You know, Cornette is one. I think Blaine Wilson, you could argue this is one of his best efforts of the year as well in the third spot as he maintains that position right behind the Matt Cox machine. One of the better efforts for Paul Gallimore this year. Nick King, should mention Nick King as well. A couple of spins today for the 12. He's back inside the top 10. How about the recovery try for King? He's right behind Brandon Fetterplace, almost a moment there, as Cornette and Bowie almost come together. Again, the defense was paying off for a moment for Chris Cornette. It ends right there, Coffey and Bowie on the way on by. Next up will be Garcia.
Well, you say that, and Cornette's right back on the attack. He nearly got into the quarter panel with the 35 off of 4. Still coming up to 20 laps to work with here. Bowie finally able to secure that job as a lot of drivers pushed up. Let's talk about the upcoming events, by the way, here at Precision Entertainment. As we are into the final stretch, good time to remind you that Cyber Thunder is in the midst of its championship stretch. The playoffs into the round of 12 here this season. Rockingham is the racetrack they'll head to on Tuesday. 8 p.m. start time for that one. Next week, we're at Echo Park Speedway, also known as Atlanta, known as well as Hampton, Georgia. That'll be a super speedway race, July 15th. See how that plays out. There's been a lot of talk about some leagues increasing horsepower. We'll see if that happens here. Now, reminder, first of all, head over to our Facebook as well if you want to keep an eye on things up to date when it comes to the mid-race updates here for this series and others. That's Precision Speed Solutions LLC. Follow along with social media and with Facebook to follow along with the updates across the race.
Trouble, JP, it's Nico Garcia. He's gone around off the door of Chris Cornette in that battle for 7th, and the caution's out again. It's Garcia again.
Just when you think things settle down, they get intense again. Nigel Christensen were getting very chatty on the radio at the time too. And Garcia to the back again. Well, this gets interesting. Now what do you do?
Yeah, obviously the question, how do you come take tires inside of 20 to go? This actually almost got started in front of the Garcia machine with Alex Coffey, Blaine Wilson, and Brandon Bowie. As Blaine Wilson almost played as a pick for Coffey on Bowie there in turn 1. That was almost a moment. This is just behind that. You're going to ride on board with Fetterplace, and you could see Nico Garcia growing increasingly frustrated with Chris Cornette as he continued to play tight defense and pinch and pinch and pinch, and eventually Garcia runs further up and up and up off turn 2. And in the same case we've seen several times tonight, bounces off the 84 and goes for a second single car spin in the night.
And all you can say to that is hard battling, hard racing. And it opens up the pit window for what's going to be a dramatic one. All you can say to this is it becomes a strategy roulette from here on out, Dawson.
And strategy roulette as well as it is, as we'll hear in just a minute. We've had some cars hopped for the gamble strategy inside of 20 laps to go. Nico Garcia, a tough break for him as he slides sideways, and obviously not as long now as he did have on the first spin.
Adam.
Timothy Harper came down pit road, and he'll lose about 4 spots. He was our race leader. Nick King staying out after a couple of spins here today, along with Kyle Holden, Corey Moore, and Barry Sanders.
Thank you very much for the information. And obviously Nico Garcia taking a bit of a hit there with the way things went. So Nico, what happened there from your perspective?
Yeah, I think just get into the corner. When you get on somebody's door like Chris did with me there, car gets really tight. It pulls the air off the front of the car, and it really pushes you up the racetrack. So that's how that really happened. I lifted a little bit, but I mean, you know, there's not much you can do there. You're just a passenger at that point. Try to hold on to it, but we'll see what happens. I don't have any more tires, so I'm just kind of right around out here with what I got and see what happens.
I was about to say, how is this going to go here? Because you're surrounded by people who just took 2 tires. You took a fuel only. Mm-hmm. how are you going to handle this with all the fast drivers about to zip by with the 4 tires? We've seen how this worked with Barry Sanders earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to try to stay out of people's way and, also try to salvage what we can. So, I don't know, we'll see. I know a lot of guys are on 2 tires. I don't know what that'll do with the track the way it is, so with it being cooler. So, we're gonna see what happens. I mean, obviously, if people are faster, I'm just gonna, I'll let them go for sure. I don't want to cause a wreck with anybody, but yeah, we'll just ride around and see what happens.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Nick Garcia getting the chance to reset here, and so with 15 to go. Dawson, oh boy, this is to where some people are fearing tire sets. Gone.
Yeah, the words of the great Larry McReynolds. Folks at home, pull those belts tight one more time. This one's going to be interesting because the cars up front have stayed out. It's old tires, some guys on 2. What's the track going to do? How aggressive is this going to get? Green flag in the Vanderlei Stickers restart zone. What a jump for Nick King. What a jump for Corey Moore. But more importantly, what a jump for Brandon Bowie. He's forward all the way to 6th. He might get to 5th. He looks 3 wide under Sanchez. That may have been a little too ambitious as they work off 2. It's a mess behind the top 2 cars. Bowie trying to split through the center.
Sanchez trying to roll the bottom, and here we go again. Cars are slamming the wall. Coffee is around, falling into the pack. Kenny Reel, and so many more in it. Several of your contenders, Cox, Garcia, and we're under caution again.
That's the worst thing the guys that stayed out could have seen. This kind of started with a stack up on the opening jump here on this restart, and as they worked back to turn 1, this created a staggered 3 and almost 4 wide situation with Alex Coffey. First contact is going to be Matt Cox here off turn 2 as he gets turned off the Nico Garcia machine in the scramble. Oh, he got washed up by his teammate. It's Gallimore into Cox, and it is chaos from there.
And this, again, becomes a race car graveyard. Garcia, part of those that went on the tow truck from this. Here's Coffey. See the second up the track he goes. Kenny Reel, who had been up and down all night, gets himself collected to the back end of that one. Timothy Harper, much those believers survived. Here's Blaine Wilson's look of it. Well, definitely got some pieces of that, didn't he? As Cornette buzzes the tires.
I was just going to say, what a save for Chris Cornette in the 84. It's a race saver for him potentially. And you're on board Harp now. Again, this was a complete mess based on the fact the outside did not go. It stacked everything up. And right here, you see Gallimore kind of washes up. Actually, Cox may have got some help from behind from Timothy Harper as well. William Owens is another car involved. You mentioned Reel. Brandon Fetter plays a half slide. That's a lot of the cars that have been inside the top 10 all day involved in this one. Look at this for Chris Cornette. You want to talk about quick hands, a quick reaction time? This is a race saver for the 84 right here.
Big save with the Tokyo Drift. And as this all sparks things up, obviously a lot of people are going to have to get repairs done with this, but more importantly, this helps out Nick King, but also helps out Brandon Bowie if we get enough laps, because he's the first on the freshies to get through all this.
Yeah, I was just going to say it helps Nick King and Corey Moore and Kyle Holden to a degree, but the last thing they wanted to see there was Brandon Bowie got all the way to 4th. They'll restart on the outside of row 2, and as quickly as he was dicing through the field just for the moment we were under green, I just can't imagine that helps the top 3 very much, knowing fresh tires are only 3 spots behind him. Nick King needs another restart like he got. He needs to run away and hope for the best.
And so we're already at 1 to go. We're coming up to 11 to go real quickly. Zach's on the radio with Chris.
Chris Cornette, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, buddy, how's it hanging up there? Look at you. You look great on the camera, too. How's it feel? Running right now outside the top 10. You were up in the top 3. How you doing, and how was the drift there?
Ah, dude, I was right there when I saw all of that happen right in front of me. I thought I was over with. I was done with, and then I made it through, and then I got hit, and I was like, yeah. I just basically just let go and be like, all right, let it straighten out if it's meant to be straightened out, and it did. So we're gonna try to. We got basically a redemption to try to get back up there and battle for this thing. This thing feels real amazing since the track's cooled down a lot more, the lights went down, the thing is a rocket ship.
Yeah, well, go get him, buddy. We're coming back green.
10-4.
Chris Cornett will get back on the binders because we're at 11 to go. Off and away from the Van Louis Stickers restart zone. It's to the point where the photo lights are going off in the grandstands. But look at the 3 and 4 wide. Mark Sanchez getting ran over by cars. They all hold it straight for now. But here comes more. Here comes Bowie.
Yeah, the big thing there for Nick King was that Brandon Bowie got held up a little bit by Corey Moore, getting a tough race start, and now Bowie having to take a little bit unconventional line, and it works anyway. Through the center of the corner, Bowie to third, Bowie to second. Moore will try to defend, and Nick King now 10 laps away from his first win in 4 years. He wants it bad, but Bowie's on fresh tires, and it's mano a mano for the win in Joliet.
Corey Moore still trying to hold on. 38-plus lap old tires here for the 19. He's got the viewpoint for the battle for the race lead. Bowie is alongside. Bob Bowie goes. Brandon Bowie to the race lead. The 35 up to the point once more with 9 to go.
Yeah, but Paul Gallimore through for third, further back from them. Gallimore in the 11 all of a sudden has a ton of speed under his car. Further back, almost a squeeze. Fetter Place and Harper nearly come together off turn 2. 9 to go in the race. As we start to look at tire stints, some of the guys up front, Nick King, Corey Moore, 30, 35 laps plus on their tires after this gamble. It's not going to work for now. And the question becomes, with 7 to go, does Gallimore have time to get by King and get to Brandon Bowie?
Got to get on the wheel quick. Bowie's already putting together 29.5. Gallimore was at 29.7 last time. Look who's also trying to pick up spots. Again, it's real. Just involved in the last incident with the pit stop. Now, can he make at least a top 10 effort here as we come up to 7 to go?
And again, these are the type of resilient efforts you need to make the Impact Sim Designs chase. And so many times this year, Kenny Reel, amongst others, but Reel specifically has been a guy who has just battled back time after time after time to regain spots and get back into a position where he can gain some points. He's back to 13th. Gallimore, this is for second. To the inside of Nick King. The question is, if he can make this pass, he'd have to slide up right here. He now is clear of Nick King. It's clean air between Paul Gallimore and Brandon Bowie. But does he have time, and does he have the pace underneath that black and white and gold BMP number 11? Battle behind them. It's a total mess from Harper on back. It's Moore against Wilson. It's an all big 4-5-6 battle. Harper, Moore, and Blaine Wilson.
Well, the having good job being put in tonight with Alex Murray out of town tonight, remember, when it comes to his focus on Stars competition coming up this weekend in the karting scene. Cornett, just talked with him. 11 lap old tires. Remember with the slide, array for 12th to 7th for car 84. Coming up now to 4 to go at the stripe.
Yeah, and lap times, Gallimore even with Bowie, but that's not going to quite be good enough to get him there. He'd need to start picking up time and picking up time quickly. Harper is closing on Nick King, but he's out of time without another caution flag. And as Gallimore loses a 10th there in turns 3 and 4, Brandon Bowie's car's picked up the racetrack.
Bowie is gone. He is absolutely rocketing his way from this field. He's got the gap of almost 9/10. Kyle Holden may just about find his top 10 speed here. Corey Moore's older tires starting to fade. How about William Owens? His car was on the wrecker for a while. The 30 is up in the top 10 also.
Yeah, what a great story for William Owens. Another guy down around that cut line below it, actually, that may get a really big-time run in his season tonight if he's able to finish this thing off. He's got Cornette and Wilson out the windshield now for him, and what would be an incredibly resilient run further towards the front. This is Harper on King. This is for the third position. King defending well so far. They almost come together there momentarily off of turn 2. Harper to the inside, Wilson trying to follow, and Cornette works into this from 6th.
Trying to get the top 5 here. It's going to require a little bit of precision with the Nick King machine losing ground. Now he's on the bumper of them. Goes to the inside. There goes the 84 for the top 5. We're at 2 laps to go. Brandon Bowie taking off. Cornette and King in the wall. They're able to straighten it out. But up in front, your most dominant driver of the season continues his stretch. The former eNASCAR pro comes to the lead, gaming 1 to go, looking for win number 7.
Yeah, Gallimore close, but not close enough. Further back, again, Cornette got to 5th, Owens to 7th. Real tonight, some great stories there. For Brandon Bowie, another verse in the same song, a dominant season. We'll see another chapter added tonight.
He wasn't the most dominant car tonight, but he definitely had the speed from the onset. Once he got track position, he never looked back. Brandon Bowie gets it done at Chicagoland. Second place, Paul Gallimore, Timothy Harper amongst those in the top 3. As they all come across the stripe. The 35, new number, same Bowie.
Yeah, it's just been that kind of year for Brandon Bowie. We knew that coming in when we heard that Brandon Bowie was going to be a part of this series, and an accomplished driver on the iRacing service across the official series, across the league scene. This guy has it all, and he's had it all on Wednesday nights as well. He'll extend the points lead also tonight with yet another victory.
We come up towards Zion's victory lane. Projected matchup moving on. Bowie did beat Real, obviously. Holden beating Davis. Next matchup going to be up in the air. A few others also we'll touch upon later. But Brandon Bowie burning it down with a little smoke. We'll take a step aside. Break coming up. You're watching tonight's action, the Impact Sim Design 300 on Precision Entertainment. It's Brandon Bowie who burns it down. back to tonight's action as we get all set to go for post-race coverage to the trip to Victory Signs Victory Lane. Tonight, it's Brandon Bowie that gets that trip for the 7th time this season. Paul Gallimore and Timothy Harper on the podium. We'll speak with them in just a few moments. Then Blaine Wilson and Chris Cornett were in the top 5. Nick Kane and William Owens were within 4 seconds, along with Kyle Holden. Kenny Reel, also in that same distinction. Corey Moore finished up with the top 10.
And some huge runs points-wise in that top 10. Brandon Fetter placed 11th, maintained a decent run tonight, as did Aaron Matthews, who needed a little bit better than that, but still, I can imagine he'll be too disappointed. Same for Nigel Christensen, 13th. The boss man, Barry Sanders, 14th. Mark Sanchez in 15th. Rest of the top 20, Jose Medina, Johnny Shade, Sean Rogers, Ryan Catalano, and Alex Coffey rounds it out in 20th.
So it's 21st. That's where Wayne Bowen is here tonight for this one. 22nd with the way up Blake Hochschild. You have Matt Cox in 23rd with Nico Garcia 24th. Mind you, 10th, 22nd on back 4 months to the NF list. Jim Treat down in 25th. Chris Vincent 26th. Chris Davis finished 80 laps down in 27th, right in front of Shane. Trevor Ashworth and Matt Mackin were the top 30 this evening. Then 31st went to Matt Metler, Greg Carr, 32nd. Look top to bottom at the one. You're here tonight as we get ready to keep things up with our drivers and get things all situated. Let's send it down to 3rd place tonight. Adams caught up with Timothy Harper.
Hi, Tim. Congratulations on the P3 finish here at Chicagoland. Definitely one of those races that you were probably looking at when I could have maybe won this one.
Yeah, for sure. I was not pleased with that caution that came out with 15 to go, but what can you do? It's racing. It happens. Yeah, I just thought I had a good enough lead there to hold everybody off, even if they were able to get to me. I could have air blocked and stuff, but yeah, it just didn't work out.
Anything you could have done better maybe in the closing laps there to catch Brandon Bowie?
Get through the traffic quicker and not be a part of that wreck right on the restart. Yeah, if I could have got through traffic quicker, I could have got to him. I think he took 2 tires, so I had a little bit of an advantage, but yeah, just didn't get through there as quick as he did.
Well, tonight you do win your matchup in the bracket challenge. Harper, you are going to be taking on Alex Coffey next week in Atlanta. How are you going to be going into this next week?
Talk some mad crap. He's my teammate, but yeah, I'm excited to go to Atlanta and still have a chance at the in-season tournament and see what we can do there. Normally pretty decent there. I think I finished 4th earlier in the year there. So hopefully we can do good and have a good race there as well.
Anybody you want to thank for the P3 finish tonight?
Yeah, PLVA, they're on the car tonight, and Precision. Thanks to Alex for building the setups there wicked fast and put in a lot of work every week. The whole dig team does, and yeah, and just y'all for putting on a broadcast. Y'all do a really good job, and Barry for putting on the league, and thankful to be a part of it, and it's really fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll send it back up to Justin.
Thanks.
Timothy Harper coming away with the top 3 here tonight. Zach is standing by with the next driver in the queue, Paul Gallimore, 2nd.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Paul Gallimore doing a great job finishing P2 tonight. Paul, great job. Great end in the stage 3. How was the car? And obviously a great job in P2.
Thanks, sir. The car was good. We took 2 there at the end, and then stayed pretty neutral. Wanted to keep it as loose as possible with how this race just kind of played out to where all these short runs and whatnot. I really wish we could have had some long runs in there. I think we would have, it would have gone pretty good. It was just, there was no saving anything tonight. This cool track tent was, everybody was balls to the wall. So it was just survival, man.
I hear you. Obviously, you talk about survival. Let's transition to next week. We have the in-season tournament, right? We're heading to Echo Park at Atlanta. You're going to take on Mark Sanchez. So you win your battle this week. Now you have Mark Sanchez next week. We're pack racing. What's the strategy like? Are you going to talk any crap? What's going on in your head in terms of that?
No, we don't talk crap or nothing. We just let the driving do the talking. But I mean, that's a track that anybody can win at. Sanchez is strong there, So and hell, the whole field's strong there. So it's just there's also going to be mistakes being made and pushes in the wrong places. So you just can't be in that position or get put in that position, and try to race smart and be there at the end of the thing is really all you can really do. I mean, it's just it's going to be a luck of the draw. It's such a tight quarter racetrack. Really 2 lanes. The top lane is trash. I mean, you can't really form. You get some people up there, but it just side drafts horrible. So honestly, it's just just trying to survive next week. So I mean, again, it's pretty much the theme, I guess, for this playoffs or this bracket thing is just survive.
Anyone you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all my guys down there at BMP, Cox and Rogers and Shane Davis and all them boys. They do a great job of working together. I hate Vincent, and Vincent was quick tonight. Rogers was fast. Cox, of course, was always fast, as he always is. So I just hate those guys. Got into some issues and so forth. I really would have liked to see them come up there and battle with us. I like to thank Icon Apparel. They do a great job sponsoring the series. They've come on board and do a great job with that. Barry for putting on the league. Everything you guys do, you do some great broadcasts and everything too. So I appreciate everyone's support and look forward to next week.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words and good luck next week.
10-4. Thanks.
That's Paul Gallimore in the 11 car finishing P2 tonight. We're going to send it over to Victory Designs Victory Lane right now. JP, standing next to your winner, Brandon Bowie.
Yes, indeed. Brandon Bowie able to go Bob Bowie and run away from everybody tonight at the very end. Brandon, first of all, talk us through those final stretches.
Well, I guess I can start with the fact that I probably didn't need to shoot myself in the foot and speed on pit road. That's kind of where it kind of started to go downhill. But then I, trying to come back to the field, trying to take my time, then got spun, had to reset and do it all over again, get damage fixed. So it was just, I don't know, man. Like, stage 1 and stage 2 was fun. Like, I had a lot of fun racing everybody and some good clean racing that we had, and then we just hit stage 3 and I don't know what happened. I guess everybody felt like they had to hurry up and get to the front and lead all the laps. I don't know, but I'm gonna be honest with you, stage 3 was not fun. Just too many wrecks, too many people driving over their head, a lot of just mistakes from a lot of people that was kind of, I wasn't expecting that from tonight. So, just crazy racing tonight, honestly.
It seemed that way, to say the very least. Now, in your opinion, in 100 words, how did the car drive in terms of compared to how you felt the characteristics to a car you would have liked to the previous editions, Chicagoland, to the 2018 specs?
That's a good question. I mean, for the most part, this felt just more grippy. Honestly, it just felt like I had a lot more downforce. I can kind of move around a lot more. The bumps did seem a little bit more aggressive, but I think that's just because we were just going faster. But I mean, if I were to compare, for example, if I compare the A Open to this, I mean, this felt completely different from A Open. And coming into the race, it was, I don't know, I was more skeptical on what the possibilities were, because I just didn't know. I mean, I think the A Open races were 115 to 125 degrees. This was, I think, like 90. So like a huge swing in weather, a lot more grip, but it would make the car tighter. And then you compare that to like before, like you really didn't have those situations. It was just kind of about the same. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into words. I mean, I'm pretty sure I beat my 100-word max that you said, or minimum, but I don't know. It's just different. It's hard to explain the differences other than just felt like like the Gen 6 550 package. It felt like a lot of grip, a lot of on throttle, not a lot of off throttle, and I think that's possibly what caused everybody to be so aggressive, maybe. But yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you.
So with that being said, two things. One, Echo Park's next week. Two, talking about your matchup, you are taking on Kyle Holden is the projected in-season matchup. What's so amusing about that matchup?
Well, Kyle is technically a teammate, so it's like that's also going to be a little difficult because we're going into a super speedway. You want to work with your teammates, so that's going to be really interesting how that works. I mean, obviously, I would love to still be one position in front of him, whether what that is at the checker flag, but that's definitely going to be interesting because, like I said, we're all going to work together as teammates, no matter who we're challenged up against. But yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one. And as far as I think you were talking about Atlanta in general, Atlanta is I'm not for the super speedways. I really don't really care for them too much. I think there's a lot of games that have to be played in order to make things work. I know we are, Team Arrow is of the smaller team compared to others. So I think we're going to have to kind of partner up with maybe some guys to kind of make some things happen, but it's going to be an uphill battle. I think every super speedway we've struggled with trying to get the best finishes and try to get a win. So I'm optimistic, but it's definitely going to be a challenge to run good at Atlanta next week.
Any shout-outs you'd like to give here tonight?
Team Arrow, of course. Thank them again, Barry, the team owner, for allowing me on. Premier Setups for providing a very fast setup this week. My teammates, you guys for putting on the broadcast. Family, who do I have? Bundle of Joy. Sorry, I'm lost for words. Bundle of Joy. Check them out. That's Kyle Busch and Samantha Bush's foundation. Give them a check. Check them out on the website. If you want to donate, please do. I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody, but that's all I can remember right now. Hopefully, I passed the 6-minute mark that I was told I had to pass.
Wow.
5 more seconds. Okay. I just want to say thanks to everybody. Thank you. So, 6 minutes. Want to thank all the competitors out there for not causing too much mayhem. I guess that's my last thing I got.
Thank you very much for the time, Brandon.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
As we finish up the victory, I know you're known for the tradition of long interviews. Did anyone tell you that there was discussions on interview length tonight?
I may have been told about that. Yes.
Okay.
I might have. Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm. Thank you very much for the time, Brandon. So, for those wondering, that is the longest interview of the season for him. Like, I think the top 3 for everyone here tonight. Let's get back on topic here. Dawson, Echo Park. Next week going to be fun.
Yeah, I'll start real quickly with tonight. Obviously, the return to Chicagoland after a few years on the Chicago street course, and it lived up to the billing. This place is still high speed, it's still exciting, and provided a ton of action, and I think Brandon Bowie articulated that well, and that Stage 3 was a lot more chaotic. Stages 1 and 2 more wide open. Stage 3 chaotic. If you thought tonight was chaotic, just you wait. One of my home tracks next week, Echo Park, also Atlanta Motor Speedway, still known as that to some of us in the Atlanta area, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I'm really curious, intrigued to see if the horsepower increase comes in next week, because I think, if you see that next week, it would race a lot more like we saw in the real-life NASCAR circuit back in June, which proved to be one of the races of the season in 2025 for the NASCAR Cup Series. So I'm curious to see if that is the case. If not, February was awesome in this series. Should be awesome again here next week when we go back to Atlanta.
And upcoming broadcasts, remember, Cyber Thunder is going to be at The Rock on Tuesday, 8 p.m. start time. for that one as they start the round of 12 for some short track racing. Then Moonshiners is back as we said it here at Echo Park. That will be next Wednesday. But if you want your league or special event broadcast by us, there's a good place to go. Go to goprecision.live or send an email to ryan@precisionspeedsolutions.com today to learn more and see how you can fit on the network, and better yet, how we can fit your needs in terms of broadcasting. So on that note, it's just about time to say goodnight for today's coverage. I'd like to thank everyone for taking part in tonight's coverage and watching tonight's coverage here at Precision Entertainment. First of all, I'd like to thank Dawson Wise here at the co-announcing booth, as well as our pit reporters and Zach Case and Adam Thompson. Our producer with tonight was Ryan Bauer, using cameras brought by Whiplash SimCams. I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching tonight's coverage of Moonshiners Racing League, the Impact Sim Designs 300 from Chicagoland. Congratulations to Brandon Bowie, your winner from Joliet.